It's a doubleheader weekend for NASCAR's Top Series. Cup racing on a Saturday and Sunday in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Bragging rights on the line in the automaker's backyard. And if today is anything like yesterday, we are in for a fast and fabulous show.
It's time to go for the first doubleheader this weekend. The green flag is out in Michigan. Kevin Harvick, he has been the Michigan man. He's going to win stage 1.
Good job, green checker.
This will be stage 2 win for Kevin Harvick.
Keselowski trying to take the shortest way around there. Harvick's in the best shot right now.
Harvick has been dominant. 2 of the last 3 races. He's going to make it 3 out of 4. Harvick's going to win again in Michigan.
Good job, boys. Thank you. What a car.
Won stage 1, won stage 2, and won the race.
Ready for round 2? Welcome to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic. For some, another chance to dominate. For others, a last chance. All of them facing hot and muggy conditions 24 hours after race number 1. Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, was also called Mr. Sunshine. You see the sunshine partly cloudy in Michigan. You know what Banks would say? He'd say, let's play 2. Good afternoon, here with NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett and Brad Daugherty at our NBC Sports Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, where, speaking of weather, there was an earthquake this morning. Brad, no question, yes. Kevin Harvick left them shaking yesterday, sweeping the day. So the big question for today, can anyone beat Harvick?
Well, I was shocked yesterday when I heard Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch talk about not being able to even battle with that 4 car. I thought psychologically they were damaging themselves. But if you look back through the numbers, the only other guy who's really been dominant, been strong at Michigan has been Martin Truex Jr. He is the only other driver other than Kevin Harvick to finish in the top 10 at all 7 of the stages. So I think it's Martin Truex Jr.
Brad, it's 38-1 that they got against this one driver, and they're talking about nobody can beat him. But if you're going to try to beat him, you better bring your very best, because Kevin Harvick and his race team, from the pit crew to Rodney Childress, everybody are getting the job done. They're at their very best, and Kevin Harvick's giving it his very best right now as a driver. If I see one driver that has the speed to keep up, that's Denny Hamlin. He had a couple of chances starting on the inside row yesterday to get it done. Couldn't quite pull it off, but look for him to be right in the mix today.
Well, some big news today. The top 20 yesterday were inverted for today's lineup, but several of those cars are going to the rear of the field. The inside line of the first 3 rows, in fact, as you see all of the cars going to the back. Who does this benefit, Dale?
Yeah, gosh, that's unfortunate that those guys got good starting positions. But when you look at it, it's probably William Byron and Jimmie Johnson are going to move forward. Opportunity in this first stage to gather some much-needed points. And I think they're probably more important to William Byron just because he sits there in that 16th spot. Jimmie Johnson fans, have no fear. Dover is near in just a couple of weeks. The 11-time winner there is going to get 2 chances there, so doesn't have to get it done today, but he would like to get it out of the way if he can.
Yeah, there's only 22 points that separate 16th to 19th, so William Byron really has to take advantage of this. Only 2 points in the last 11 stages, so this is a great opportunity for him to get up in a little bit cleaner air and have a chance to get some of those stage points. But, DJ, I think at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to win a race. They're going to have to win one of these races in order to have a great opportunity to get in the playoffs.
All right, so William Byron, Jimmie Johnson moving up to the first 2 rows. And you guys talk about those playoff standings. Here they are, just 5 races to go in the regular season. Michigan native Erik Jones is up to 17th. He's just 16 points ahead of Byron for that last playoff spot. After a week when he found out he was losing his job, he came out swinging in his home state. Marty Snyder is with him.
Yeah, Chris, it's certainly a tough week for Erik Jones to find out the news that he will not be back at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2021. And in the middle of all that, he's got to find a way to try and make it in the playoffs. So, Erik, let's talk about the news that came down this week. Number 1, did it catch you off guard? And number 2, when did you find out?
Yeah, I found out really the same day as everybody. I guess it was on Thursday morning. I was told, and Thursday night we kind of announced everything. But you know, I was blindsided a little bit. I didn't really expect it coming from our talks. I thought we were, you know, moving in a good direction. But you know, at the end of the day, I've had a great, really 8 years almost with Joe Gibbs Racing between Xfinity and Cup, and I'm thankful for that time. And you know, it's good to see the support that's been out there the last few days on social media, and everybody that's coming out and support has been awesome. But you know, we've got a great few opportunities out there, which has been good to see over the next few weeks. Hopefully we can have some good talks. So excited about that. And, you know, excited about the next 15 races, too.
So speaking of the opportunities that you mentioned, how does it move forward for you? Because honestly, since you were 17, your career's been plotted out by Toyota. Now you're kind of on your own to make it happen.
Yeah, it's a lot different spot. You know, I really, after we won that first truck race in Phoenix a few years ago, I was on kind of a plan, and it really worked out really well all the way up to the 20 car. And it's a lot different situation. I've got great people behind me working with me. Alan Miller here in Michigan, I've been with for a long time, is helping me out a lot in this situation. So it's been, you know, a hectic few days and trying to start working on things for next year. But, you know, it's also an opportunity to take a foundation that, you know, we've built the last few years and start to build from that. So it's unfortunate in one way, but it's exciting in another, too.
So we saw the point situation. You're trying to make your way into the playoffs right now, just outside of it. So how do you manage all of that, trying to move forward, trying to build positivity into a team while you're trying to search for a job at another organization?
Yeah, it's tough. And, you know, I think the best thing to help with that job search, though, is performance. And, you know, I think we're fully capable of that. And we had a rough week in New Hampshire, put us behind a little bit, but yesterday was great for us points-wise. And, you know, I've talked with Chris, and he's on the same page. You know, he wants to go out strong, and everybody on the 20 team. You know, I don't think anybody's let up at all here in these last few days, yesterday or going forward. So I'm all in with them, and I think they're all in with me for these next 15 we've got, and hopefully get in the playoffs and have a strong showing there, and, you know, then see what we can go from there.
And, Krista, that's what Chris Gale told me earlier today. He said he told Eric earlier this week, best thing to build your resume, go out and win a race. That'll help everybody.
Yeah, Dale, he's a man without a plan.
Yeah, he is, but he's a very talented driver, and that helps you a lot. So what he's got to go do here is just do his job. Go do what he knows how to do, make these playoffs, and great opportunities are going to come for him. You know, there are high standards in Joe Gibbs Racing, a lot of talented drivers, and if everything isn't going your way, then they find something else to go on, Brad. And, you know, it's a little bit difficult for him right now, but he'll make his way in this.
Yeah, he's legitimate. 7 Truck Series wins, 9 Xfinity Series wins, 2 Cup wins. He's 2015, 16, 17, Rookie of the Year in all 3 series. He is an excellent race car driver, only going to get better. He will have a great opportunity going forward.
Eric Jones has motivation. Plenty of others do, too. Coming up, you're going to hear from the driver of the number 2, still trying to check off his home track on the win list. Plus, Chase Elliott has been close in years past. We talked to Chase coming up on Countdown to Green. Countdown to Green is brought to you by the Toasted S'mores Shake, only at Sonic. Check out the greatest selection of T-shirts, hats, die-casts, and more for all your favorite drivers. Visit NASCAR.com/shop for all of your gear. Let's take a look what's on the menu, presented by Sonic. Kevin Harvick in position to sweep the weekend after his win yesterday, his 3rd in the last 4 races at Michigan. But Brad Keselowski is so close to getting his first Cup win at his home track. He finished 2nd for the 3rd time in his career. And after finishing 20th yesterday, Chris Buescher was set to start on the pole today due to an inversion process. Instead, he'll start from the rear in a backup car. Who else should you watch today? How about Chase Elliott? He was one of the drivers battling for the win, wound up finishing 7th. Can he lock down his first Michigan win today? He's with Kelly Stavis.
And Krista, when you look at Chase Elliott's statistics here at Michigan, they really are remarkable. He started his career with 3 straight runner-up finishes, and Chase, it looked like he had a really good opportunity again yesterday to go after that win here. Really easy for us to Monday morning quarterback, but on that final restart or 2, is there anything that you could have done or would have done differently?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, I thought the 18 had a good push on the bottom, and I thought he was going to clear me if I didn't, you know, go down and try to side draft him, and then, you know, Kevin's going to go wherever I didn't. So I felt like I was kind of between a rock and a hard place, but the rest of those guys made it work just fine with no problems and hold on to the lead. So obviously I didn't do something good, but regardless, we put ourselves in a good position there. It didn't go our way, but yeah, we'll try to do a little better today, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the benefit, right? You get to come back today and improve. What were your comments to crew chief Alan Gustafson of where you could get better? It seemed like it took you guys a little bit of the race to kind of get up into the top 5.
Yeah, we really weren't very good at all. I didn't think to start, and I wasn't real crazy about it even there towards the end. I mean, Brad gave me a great push, and that was, you know, we took a chance to go to the front row. and then had a great push from Brad, and that really kind of shaped us into, I think, looking a little better than what we really deserved. But, you know, I felt like I don't think we made the most of it. I feel like I made a mistake on the last lap and probably lost a few spots, but that whole restart put us in a position and really changed the outlook of our race. So it just kind of goes to show you never really know until it's over with, and especially with this shoes rule now,
sure.
You know, what goes on there, and who knows how that plays out. So we'll see. Hopefully our Mountain Dew Camaro is a little better than our Napa Chevy was yesterday, and we can, you know, give ourselves another chance.
Yeah, some of those new rules, DJ, shaking things up. And with the invert and penalties now, Chase Elliott will line up 14th.
Yeah, Kelly, it's a good thing that there's not a stat for restarts at Michigan, because he wouldn't appreciate what he would see there. But the fact is, he keeps putting himself in this position. He is so talented, runs so well, and one of these days, these are going to work out for him, and he's going to win a race. Could even happen here this afternoon.
Yeah, I agree with you, DJ. I think, you know, it seems like his car just hasn't had the great balance all season long. So they're chasing speed, and they're also trying to figure out how to maintain track position. On restarts, he will absolutely, it's a show. It is an absolute popcorn moment to watch him on these restarts, because he tries to go and get as many spots as he can. So we'll see what happens. I like the fact that he takes chances. They haven't worked out yet, but one of these days they'll come to fruition.
Has to.
Yeah.
Popcorn moment. I like that. Chase is a Georgia boy. So is Rutledge Wood. And Rut spent yesterday talking with some fans about the doubleheader weekend. Rut, what did you learn, and what's coming up today? Hey, Rut.
Hey, Krista, you know what I learned? Fans love watching race, asking questions. That's what Hey Rut's all about. And I asked them, hey, since Detroit's really the Motor City, send me some pictures of your cool rides. Take a look at some of the amazing pictures that we got back. We got some real good ones coming up today, but right up top, Brewster Baker from, of course, Kenny Rogers drove that one in 6-pack. You got Shelly's dad and her brother restored that Camaro. My friend Eddie Gossage looking so good on his Harley right there. Cameron's got his new GR Supra down in the corner. Sean's VW. Y'all know I love that. It's got a 2-liter, but he's going to the junkyard to find a VR6. W. Smith got his Firebird going, Adrian's 69 flare side, and Claudia, now my mom Claudia, but another Claudia's long bed Chevy right over there. We've got some amazing ones. Make sure if you want to show us your ride today, use that hashtag HeyRut, and I've got a real favorite coming up a little bit later in the show. It's going to be fun. I would like to put pictures of Brad's cars in there, but because the roofs have all been, you know, modified to fit them, I don't know if I can fit in the shot, but I'll work on that.
Yeah, go off the screen for sure. Hey, after finishing second yesterday, Brad Keselowski tweeted, I want this one so bad. Today, he's going to get another chance to earn his first Cup win at home. We're going to talk to him coming up. Countdown to Green is brought to you by the Toasted S'mores Shake, only at Sonic. Welcome back to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic. Checking the odds to win for today's race. Kevin Harvick, again the favorite, this time 2-1, while Rochester Hills, Michigan native Brad Keselowski at 8-1. Brad, the question, is he in the same league, Brad Keselowski, as Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin? Can you add him into that same conversation?
Oh, I think without question. I mean, you look at after yesterday, that's 16 top 10 finishes out of 21 races for Brad Keselowski. If you think about it, going back over the last 5 years, he's won at least 3 races in all of those seasons. We forget about some of these numbers with Brad. And the other thing, he has 6 stage wins. So he is a legitimate threat to win this championship, and he absolutely can go toe-to-toe with Denny and Kevin.
Yeah, he's doing some really good driving, making great decisions, showing up at the end of these races. No matter what goes on at the beginning, they might not be right on it, but they're making some good adjustments. And Jeremy Bullins has given him a good opportunity to go showcase his talents here. But those people in Las Vegas are pretty smart, and when you see them down there at 8-1 versus 2-1 and 5-1, they don't think that he's in kind of the same league right now. So he's got a little more work to do. He could convince them a little bit more with a win here this afternoon at his home track in Michigan.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. When it's your home track and he hasn't won there, it's everything he talks about. I mean, obviously that is a motivator. Is it enough, though, after we saw, and Brad, you made the comments, he almost defeating himself when looking at what Kevin Harvick was able to do yesterday?
Yeah, but whenever Brad Keselowski says something, I take it with a grain of salt. He may have been just throwing a little bit of shot at his guys and making a future request. I think what you have to look at is the want to and the desire, and he has that. If you think about it, this race car, which has this Doug Yates horsepower, is stout. These Fords have been absolutely unbelievable at Michigan. I mean, they've led 73% of the laps over the last 6 races here. That's 804 laps out of 1,099. So he has the bullet, he has the ability, he has the desire. As we hear, you better watch out for that 2 car, I'm telling you.
Yeah, those comments were made after you just get beat. And you know that you had done everything that you could with your car. But you wake up, it's a new day, make a few changes, and you know that you've got another opportunity to go get the job done. Sometimes you can try too hard when it's your home track, but I don't think that's the case with Brad. He's going to give it everything he has no matter the situation.
We've talked to a lot of guys who are motivated. Let's not forget about Kyle Busch, too. He's looking for his first win of the season. We're getting closer to race number 2 of the doubleheader weekend. Dale's predictor picks and our final thoughts are next here on Countdown to Green. Peacock, NBC Universal's new streaming service filled with hit movies, current shows, sports, news, and exclusive originals, including Dale Earnhardt's Lost Speedways, which is available to stream now. Join the flock at peacocktv.com. We were talking about Brad Keselowski before the break. Brad is with Marty Snyder in Michigan right now.
Yeah, Krista, contract out of the way for Brad Keselowski. He knows he'll be back at Team Penske in 2021. Almost won at his home racetrack. So the question that you and everybody in this field is asking, how do you beat the 4 car today, Brad?
Yeah, you're going to have to really put the whole race together, Marty. You know, this is a tough track. It's actually a pretty long race, 2-mile track. Even though the laps aren't, a lot, the length is pretty long. So we got a little more performance. I think we might have got out of the car. It's a much hotter day.
Yep.
Handling's going to be a little bit more important than it was yesterday, and hopefully with a little bit of the tunes that Jeremy Bowens put in the Discount Tire Ford Mustang, that'll be what we need.
And DJ, he told me earlier this week, contract out of the way, that's a big help for us if we want to focus on the playoffs and making a run for the championship.
Yeah, he certainly has his eye on winning that 2nd championship, and I think he's got his eye getting that first win at Michigan today. He's ready to go give Kevin Harvick a run for his money.
Yeah, watch for Brad to be really, really prevalent in both of the early stages. I'm picking him to win one of these stages early on.
Oh, well, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Who's going to win stages, Brad? Because 2 races means an extra opportunity for you to win $10,000 playing NASCAR Pick'em on the NBC Sports Predictor app. So DJ has made his picks. Dale, who do you have out of the 4 drivers you had to choose from for stage number 1?
Yeah, I'm wondering if people are going opposite of me to win this $10,000. Probably a pretty good idea. This is a tough group right here. Woo! But in that first stage, I think Denny Hamlin's going to get the job done out of this group today.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with those 4 right there. Okay, so Denny Hamlin for stage 1. What about these 4 in stage 2?
Yeah, I'm looking at Kyle Busch. He had a solid day yesterday. I think make a little adjustment. He's going to run inside the top 5 most of this afternoon, so look at him in this group.
Okay, let's take a look at the next group of 4, and who have you got? The best finish out of these 4?
Yeah, best 4 out of these. I'm looking at Martin Truex Jr. to do that out of these. It's going to be tough. I actually believe Denny Hamlin's going to win the race, but Martin's going to win in this group.
That might be the best finish out of these 4, but the 4 is the one that's going to have the best finish today. You better watch out. Everybody knows that that's a bad man driving that number 4 car. Everybody knows that.
All right, so there you have some predictions. We'll see what happens after when we join you for post-race. We talked to some pretty hungry guys. Don't forget about Kyle Busch. The biggest news week since the sport returned in mid-May culminates with a doubleheader at one of the sport's fastest venues. This stretch has fast straights, right turns, concrete, and high banks. That's what we have coming up in the month of August, and you need to be on for each one. Dale, Brad, and I will see you after the race for the NASCAR America post-race show. Until then, enjoy the speed from Michigan. Kelly and Marty are on the ground. Rick, Steve, Jeff, Dale Jr. have the call next.
It's day 2 of the doubleheader from Michigan International Speedway. If you can still race the car that you had yesterday, you're going to do that. Want to take a look at the playoff standings, though. That is so important. 21 races in the books. Kevin Harvick got the big win yesterday. Now he's tied with Denny Hamlin for most wins this season. But a very tight race to get into the top 16. That is, if you can make the playoffs, you have a shot at the championship. Now from Charlotte Motor Speedway here in the booth, we bring you our broadcast team. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte, Rick Allen with you. All right, guys, before we look forward to today's race, Junior, I think we've got to look back at what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we saw a race dominated by Kevin Harvick, but all the usual suspects were up front. Hamlin, Keselowski, Truex, Blaney, Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott even had a great run yesterday, and he was in the mix. But the real star of the show yesterday at Michigan, Jeff, was the restarts.
Yeah, the restarts are crazy. You know, we have this new choose rule where you can pick what lane you want to be in. And look at the chaos it created. Look at 4 wide in row, back there in row 3 and 4. We saw this all day. You know, what lane do you pick? We saw it the bottom work. We saw the top work. Look at Joey Logano on the back straightaway making it 4 wide. Jimmie Johnson trying to follow him. These restarts, guys, are going to be intense. They were intense yesterday, and I think the drivers learned a lot. Look at Martin Truex Jr. just flying up on the outside late in this race. You're going to expect to see even more intense restarts as this race moves on.
I think a big question is going to be, can anyone beat the 4 of Kevin Harvick? Steve, one of the things that blew me away yesterday is I blinked and stage 1 was done. This race is fast. What can we expect today?
Well, that's part of this doubleheader weekend. Both race lengths have been shortened a little bit. Today, only 156 laps. 40 laps in stage 1. So yesterday's winner, Kevin Harvick, he'll be starting back at the 20th position. Can he storm through the field? But I really look at that playoff leaderboard that you mentioned. We got Byron in the 16th position. Well, Jones, Reddick, Jimmie Johnson right on his heels. Only 22 points separate those 4 drivers, all fighting for that 16th spot. We talk about intensity. I think it's not just on the restarts at the front of the field, it's throughout the field. When it comes to the end of these stages, if it's a short run, a long run, those points are adding up. Only 5 more races, Rick, and the playoff field will be set.
Okay, Steve, one name that you didn't mention there, and I think it's a shock that we haven't mentioned this name up to this point, is Kyle Busch. He had a day yesterday, maybe a practice, said his car was good. Can he win today?
I think he can. I spoke to Kyle this morning. He said he liked the car that he had. He thought they could adjust on it, make it better. He was concerned about Harvick's speed. Big fan of the choose rule, though. We'll see if he can use that to his advantage today.
Another strategy play that could come into play. Well, to get things started, please welcome Father Jeff Rose, the OSFS president, St. Francis de Sales School, Toledo, Ohio. He has today's invocation.
Almighty God, we thank you for this day here at Michigan International Speedway. As our drivers and teams gather to race and we watch from afar, we ask your blessing upon them, keep them safe. As our country continues to move towards unity and peace and justice, and so many people working around the globe to end this pandemic that would allow us to return to our lives. We make all these prayers with great faith, hope, and love. Amen.
And now to perform the national anthem. Buena Vista Records and 19 Entertainment recording artists whose single Tiny Town is available now with virtual tour dates on LaneHardyMusic.com. American Idol winner, Lane Hardy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Time for the drivers to strap in. Yesterday, through the middle of the race, Ryan Blaney was one of the fastest on the track. Can he finish today? Can he possibly get a win in Michigan?
There's nothing like just getting out on the racetrack and being in that car. It's what I love to do. I love racing and I love driving.
For
2 months, we haven't heard that. That's the sound we've been waiting for.
No more welcome sight in the world of sports right now.
The whole country was watching. The whole country's pulling for you. The sports world is pulling for you.
Boy, what a season it is turning out to be for Denny Hamlin.
Those 8 weeks that we were not in the race car, it fueled my passion for racing even more so.
We've been a leader as a sport as far as coming back the way we have.
It is nice to hear some familiar voices on the radio again and get back to competition.
I hope that as a sport, we can bring some level of normalcy and some healing.
Kevin Harvick will survive and become a 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400.
To be able to sit down and watch a NASCAR race was important for our country.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, we do, boys. Yes, sir.
We enjoy giving them the entertainment every weekend.
NASCAR, once again, the second day of the doubleheader at Michigan International Speedway. Let's go now to pit road. Marty Snyder.
Boy, yesterday, Rick, here at Michigan, Chase Elliott had a terrific run, but he told me this morning, I think we're just lacking too much speed to be able to keep up with Kevin Harvick. The one thing in their favor, it is much warmer, much more humid here in Michigan today. Chase told me that could certainly help us if handling is a bigger factor, Kelly.
Michigan native Brad Keselowski was just 1 spot away from victory lane yesterday, but as his crew chief Jeremy Bolins told me, hey, that's the great thing about these double headers. We get another crack at it today. He and Brad compared notes after the race last night and were essentially on the same page, so he said he made a couple of little tweaks that they think might help close the gap to that 4 of Kevin Harvick. 33 career wins for Brad Keselowski, Marty, but you know if he won here on home soil, it would be one of his biggest.
Kelly, a lot of positivity in the Kyle Busch camp for the 18 team. He told me we unloaded the best we have since we returned from the COVID break, and it's certainly something to work with for today. They've talked about how they don't have practice. Well, yesterday they had 312 laps of practice, Kelly. They're hoping they can get it done today here at Michigan.
Yeah, there's just one word to describe Kevin Harvick's performance and win yesterday, and that is dominant. He led 92 laps, swept all 3 stages. So what did they change overnight? Absolutely nothing. Rodney Turtles told me sometimes it's easier to mess things up when you're looking for more speed. The only thing that has changed, Rick, his starting spot. With the invert, he'll line up 20th.
And it's going to be fun, Kelly, to watch him go from 20th to maybe get back up to the front to sweep the weekend. Time now for the Command of Fire Engines. Please welcome Brian F. Rich. He's the Senior Vice President and Chief Customer Officer of CMS Energy Corporation and Consumers Energy Company.
Hello, race fans from the Consumers Energy family and my own. Drivers, start your engines!
A family sport and definitely a family command as they are firing the engines now. Can Ford sweep and win the Heritage Trophy for manufacturers? Or will we see another manufacturer find victory lane? 312 miles in front of us from Michigan coming up. It's time to go for the first doubleheader this weekend. The green flag is out in Michigan. Kevin Harvick, he has been the Michigan man. He's going to win stage 1.
Good job, green checker.
This will be stage 2 win for Kevin Harvick.
Keselowski trying to take the shortest way around there. Harvick's in the best shot right now.
Harvick has been dominant. 2 of the last 3 races. He's going to make it 3 out of 4. Harvick's going to win again in Michigan.
Good job, boys. Thank you. What a car.
1 stage 1, 1 stage 2, and won the race. Can he do it again today? NASCAR Cup Series racing from Michigan, the Consumers Energy 400. Normally this time I would show you the starting grid, but it has changed considerably because of penalties and guys going to backup cars. Steve, to the rear, the list here is 11 deep.
Yeah, 11 cars. A reminder, it was going to be an invert of the top 20 from yesterday, but with all of these cars going to the back, we're going to actually show you the guys how they're going to take the green flag. Yeah. So this isn't how they're listed as a lineup, but when they roll off turn 4, this is what you're going to see for the green flag. And I think this benefits no one more than William Byron. He'll start inside row 1. That's 3 rows higher than he was planning on starting. Clint Boyer outside row 1. Rick, been very vocal about bad starting positions. Doesn't get much better. We'll see if he can capitalize.
And there were 2 more added to that, by the way. There were 13 that are going to the rear. So we look back here. Row 6 has Bubba Wallace. and Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, one of the fastest yesterday. Can he finish it up? Brad Keselowski right behind him, the Michigan-born driver. No Michigan-born driver has ever won. Yesterday I mentioned Benny Parsons hadn't won. Well, Benny Parsons wasn't born in Michigan. He was born in North Carolina.
Yeah, you see, we saw yesterday's winner Harvick all the way back in row 10. A lot of excitement there. And then look at all this. To the rear, to the rear, to the rear. Big names back here. Reddick, Almirola in a backup car. I talked to Almirola, disappointed in their run yesterday. They got a new approach today. I think that's going to fix it. Newman and Priest were in accidents. So Cole Custer, another guy that got in an accident late. We'll see if these backup cars can perform like they had hoped.
So again, a jumbled lineup there. As we mentioned, that was the way they will come to the green to start this race. And we see the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. rolling off of pit road. Now let's chat with him. Dale Earnhardt Jr., can you dial up his radio?
Hey, Martin Truex Jr., Dale Jr., you got us?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Hey, man, as a fan yesterday watching this race, that choose rule was pretty cool. What do you think about it, and how are you going to use it today?
Yeah, I thought it was good. You know, it gave you some options there, obviously. So I was hoping I could at some point be the guy starting in front of the bottom line. I never got that opportunity. So we'll see what today brings. You know, that outside is obviously preferred, but if you can get the right push on the bottom up front, you can do some good.
It's a little bit warmer today. Is that going to affect the way your car drives or what you guys did to the car this morning?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a little bit different. You know, hopefully we made the right adjustments. You know, our cars seemed to handle really, really well yesterday. Hopefully that'll play in our favor today.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
And broadcasting from home once again is Rutledge Wood. And one of the biggest stories that has taken place over the past week is the fact that Erik Jones won't be coming back to Joe Gibbs Racing next season. And with more on that, we go to Rutledge Wood. Hey, Rut.
That's right, Rick. You know, it's a big change what's going on there. Obviously, the Byron, Michigan native is a huge car person. The reason that he got into racing was because of his dad. When I asked fans to send in pictures of their cars this week, take a look at the 65 Corvette that he sent in. Now, this is a car that was owned by his father, Dave, and when Erik was racing as a teenager, his dad sold the car to fund his racing, and Erik always had the dream of buying this car back and giving it to his dad, Dave, as a gift, and unfortunately, due to lung cancer that was very rapid, Dave passed away, and Erik wasn't able to do that. But 6 months after he passed away, he was able to buy this car back, make a few changes, and this is one of his prized possessions. One of those things that links and reminds him of his father's support for racing. And how huge would it be, guys, if today that Byron, Michigan native takes that car to victory lane amongst all the other changes? What a special thing that would be.
Yeah, losing your father too soon. Erik Jones, obviously that was the guy who handled everything that was going on in Erik Jones's life as far as his racing career. And so to lose his father so quickly was difficult on him. He's still obviously reeling from that. But the big news is that he is not going to be back with Joe Gibbs Racing. The Byron, Michigan native would love to get to victory lane and break that streak of no Michigan-born driver has ever won.
He did a great job yesterday in the stages, gaining a lot of points. Needs to try to do that again today.
He finished 11th, didn't finish as well as he runs. Need to try to clean that up. Difficult time in Erik's life, right? And trying to figure out what he's going to do next. People around him are going to have to really support him and help him make the right decision. And continue to work hard, right? I mean, when somebody tells you they don't want you anymore, it hurts your feelings, but it's got to motivate you. It's got to go back to work and go find a better situation for yourself.
So in front of Erik Jones and the field is a 312-mile race, Steve. So let's break down this race.
Well, you mentioned it, 312 miles, shorter than a normal Michigan race because of the doubleheader weekend. The same high-speed 2-mile track we saw yesterday. The width, the length of the corners, the crazy restarts, 18 degrees of banking is what it's calculated at. That lower lane, though, does race like it's a little bit flatter, a little bit less grip. That's why up the track preferred on the restarts. Stage 1, 40 laps. Rick, don't blink. 40 laps is going to go by in a hurry. 45 laps, stage 2. Final stage, 71 laps. Fuel window, just shy of 50 laps in total.
We get a ride along, and yesterday it was amazing watching after the choose area and then seeing these guys battle for position. We ride along with a few of them. So, drivers, can you take us through the cameras?
Yeah, Kevin Harvick has the Busch Light Apple camera, and he'll be coming from mid-pack. I think he can win this race. Be interesting to see if he can win a stage. Joey Logano has the forward camera as well. He's got a reverse driver camera inside there, so we can look back at him, see him wheeling on that car all day long.
Yeah, we talked about Erik Jones. We get to ride along with you today with the Toyota Cam. He's providing some great shots. And the best view of all right here, the cab cam with Clint Bowyer. Clint Bowyer has been the guy that has complained about the draw that he's been getting on these restarts. He's just starting the front today. No excuses.
Can't complain about what has happened here, other than the fact that the reason he's up here is because of the inversion and all of the cars that have gone away. But Steve, he has to get to the start-finish line first because he's the control car.
That's basically it. So for the start of the race, it's not a restart. The start of the race, the flag man's going to start the race. Clint Bowyer's going to accelerate. And the inside of row 1, William Byron needs to make sure that Clint Bowyer is the first guy to start finish line. If we can get that all figured out, then we will be within the rules. One team that had a little bit of trouble with the rules, unapproved adjustments we're hearing on the 3 of Austin Dillon. He'll be forced to make a pass-through after the race begins. Here at Michigan, that's a lap.
Yeah.
It's 40-second laps. Over 40, you know, it's going to be, should be a lap. He should basically lose a lap or come out right in front of the leaders. That is a tough way to start the race. Now, the good news for Austin Dillon is when we talk about the playoffs, his name's in yellow. So he sits back with that win thinking, I'm in, thank goodness. Plus, it's a long race. We saw cars recover. Well, it's a short race, but we did see some cars recover yesterday. We'll see if the 3 can do it.
All right, we'll see how Clint Bowyer does as he leads the field to the green flag. Second race of the doubleheader underway from Michigan. That inside line getting a push. 24-48 lined up. Jimmie Johnson trying to give William Byron the lead as they go through 1 and 2.
Matt DiBenedetto to the top. 3 right around Matt Kenseth. He's going to use that momentum to suck up behind Jimmie Johnson, push him down the back straightaway.
Joey Logano trying to go 4 wide underneath Kurt Busch into turn 3.
DiBenedetto to the outside of Jimmie Johnson. Can't quite get there.
Joey Logano and that yellow car had the left side tires below the white line. Big trouble in the middle. They all worked that out somehow.
Yeah.
That was a big advantage to Kurt Busch. Look at the run he got because of that.
Matt Kenseth was super loose. Joey was loose. Those guys lost a lot of momentum.
And look at the track position they lost.
Kevin Harvick slicing up through there.
They had great track position to start this race, and it's gone in 1 lap.
Yeah. Hendrick teammates battling it out here. Matt almost went 3 wide there, but he's going to push Jimmy back into second place here around Byron. This is an important stage for both Jimmy and Byron to grab some points right around that bubble for both those guys trying to make the playoffs.
I talked to Matt DiBenedetto this morning, and he said that yesterday was the worst car he had driven all year long. Major changes today.
Yeah, he's looking very strong in that Wood Brothers Ford. In the 21, they're chasing after the 48. Marty?
Yeah, I talked to Cliff Daniels, the crew chief for Jimmie Johnson, and he mentioned exactly what you talked about, Junior. This is a critical stage for the 48 team. Right now, they come into this race 16 points below the cut line, so they need to gain some points in this stage. I asked Cliff, are you paying attention to the other teams on the bubble? He said, absolutely not. I did last year. It drove me crazy. All I'm worried about this year, the 48. We went up front. We'll get points. We'll make the playoffs.
Jimmy had some great speed yesterday. Didn't get that track position and maintain it. He can't do that today. He had a great day in the points. Looking at some of these guys that run well yesterday that had to start toward the back of the top 20, working their way through the field. Harvick, Truex.
And guys, I know it's early in this race, but you don't want to let that 4 car in front of you. You saw the speed it had yesterday. Like, you just do not want to give that spot up at all. You may not ever get it back.
You know, Jeff, but I'm really watching Martin Truex Jr. in the 19. I know the Ford's the dominant car, but remember, Martin Truex Jr. had a flat tire stage 1, spent over 50% of the race a lap down. That hurts you, making adjustments, improving your race car. I really look at him as the guy that can compete against Harvick. We'll see as he gets a huge push by Joey Logano in that top lane.
Even the greatest car out there from yesterday, Harvick. Oh, he gets loose. Truex up the track. Joey right on his bumper, gets him loose. But that inside line, if you don't have the momentum just right, you can get trained by that outside line down the front straightaway.
And cleaning up real quick, the 3 of Austin Dillon, as I mentioned, did do his pass-through penalty a long ways from losing a lap as Truex continues to slide up the racetrack. The 3 about a half a lap down, so hopefully he can stay in front of the leaders before the yellow.
You're predicting a yellow, Steve?
Well, I know there's going to be one at 35 more laps.
Okay. I was like, wow.
Well, if this continues on, there'll be just a couple laps.
Won't take long. Tyler Reddick in the 8 down there at the bottom. Look at how loose Truex is here.
He's already loose before Logano gets there. I thought Logano had a big effect on him, but I think he was already getting out of shape. That car of Truex is just not quite into the racetrack like it was yesterday. And you would wonder, hey, how can the cars be that much different? They ran these cars yesterday. They were great, drove well. How could they not handle well today? We've seen that time and time again. We raced at Pocono almost a month apart. The cars will handle so different from one race to the other. And this is yesterday's event. Harvick gets right on the corner. That 18 car gets him loose to take the lead. We debated on whether there was contact there, guys. And we still are debating on that one. It was so close.
Yeah, by the way, Kyle Busch, he thinks he was hit.
Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah. So he didn't want to debate it at all. He was pretty sure that he got hit. As we see, Martin Truex Jr. has it pointed the right direction again. And now, big run by the 47. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. making the move on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, and you see Truex struggling. And back to my point, Steve, let me ask you, your crew chief. That used to confuse me, how we could be really strong at Pocono, go back a month later, and the car never drove the same. And that's possible even today from yesterday. How does that work out?
Well, 10 degrees of track temperature makes a big difference. And by the way, the other 39 competitors aren't just sitting on their hands. They're trying to make that car better. So as we've learned time and time again, as we see a good battle between Byron and Bell for the 4th position, you know, cars drive good until you push them to your limit. If the field runs faster, you're asked to run faster. You may get to the grip level of the race car. It does seem like the 19 is struggling so far as he's only back in the 21st position.
We're only 8 laps in Michigan, but right off the bat, fast and furious action. Joey Logano underneath, making it 4 wide, drives into the corner, right along Matt Kenseth, and watch both of these cars almost wreck. Big trouble right there for both of them. Not real sure how we didn't see a caution very early in this race.
Went away, and Joey Logano was having a wild ride. Well, his weekend got started on Friday when he joined Formula D driver Vaughn Gittin at Ford's Proving Grounds in Michigan to test drive the all-electric Ford Mach-E 1400 prototype aimed at bridging the gap between what an electric vehicle can do and what customers tend to believe it can do. So pretty amazing the ride that Joey Logano had this weekend, and another wild ride already on the racetrack here at Michigan International Speedway. Drive, that's NASCAR.com's in-car, and you can go to NASCAR.com/drive or download that mobile app for your race day companion. Christopher Bell has moved up into the 2nd spot now as he was able to get by Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson has fallen all the way back to 6th now, going the wrong direction, but this is the pass.
Yeah, this just happened. Jimmy's struggling just a little bit, but Christopher just easily goes to the bottom of the racetrack, carrying more throttle, simply just getting around the corner faster.
So the big story this week also with Christopher Bell behind the wheel of the 95, Levine Family Racing is selling this team. So huge news there coming out of that organization. Bob Levine, very heartfelt messages saying how it's so difficult to have to do, but he has to do it.
Yeah, so, you know, I think there's 2 questions, right? What's going to happen to this team, who the owners are. We haven't heard that yet. I talked to Jason Ratcliffe, the crew chief of the 95, and he said, you know, I talked to my road crew and told them, I know there's a lot of unanswered questions. If anyone has an opportunity, I'll do anything I can to support you. But he believes in this group, and he said the good news is this team is not dissolving, it's being purchased. So we're going to believe that whoever buys this team is going to want to run this car. The question is, will Christopher Bell be the driver? A lot of rumors where he ends up. With the Eric Jones news, logically, maybe he goes to Joe Gibbs Racing in the 20, but Jeff, we've not heard any of that. Those are just rumors through the garage area. Nothing's been confirmed.
And nothing's been confirmed. And we talk a lot about the drivers, right? And what's going to happen with the drivers. But there's a lot of people that essentially were at Joe Gibbs Racing that went over to Levine and were working with Christopher Bell there. What's going to happen with those guys? You know, what's going to happen with those people? So it's not just a driver change. Those driver changes in this cell affects every single employee. And that's what they do for a living. That's how they feed their family. That's how they send their kids to school. These are people that now are left in question about what's going to happen with their future. Marty.
And, Jeff, when you asked Christopher Bell about the business side of things, he said, honestly, from the beginning, I've taken the approach of I drive the car. That's my job. I'll be wherever they want me to be next year, but my focus is just to do the best I can right now in the 95 car. And he's doing a terrific job right now. Started 8th, worked his way up to 2nd. And remember yesterday, Kelly, he had a really good run going until a couple of late restarts put him back in the field.
Behind him, running third, is Matt DiBenedetto. He's one of those bubble drivers. Started this race 40 points above the cut line, and as the guys mentioned, did not have a race car to contend with yesterday. They spent the first half of the race too loose, the second half too tight, so they made wholesale changes to this setup overnight. The crew here working in the garage until midnight to get it done. They kind of felt like there was only one way to go, and that was to get better here today. So far, it looks pretty good for Matty D running third, and behind him, William Byron, another bubble driver. He started just 16 points above the cut line, and his crew chief, Chad Knaus, told me it was going to be really tough for them to point their way into the playoffs. They're worried about those wild card races that we still had ahead of us, and they think their own teammate, Jimmy Johnson, could win one at Dover, which could knock him out. One of the biggest struggles he said they've had, Marty, is track position. Well, he finally got it starting on the front row today, so we'll see if they can convert that into points here in stage 1.
Kelly, terrific run yesterday for Bubba Wallace, finishing 9th. Today, right now, running 14th. And in the continuing saga of Bubba's silly season, a report came out earlier today that he does indeed already own a piece of Richard Petty Motorsports. I asked him before the race, is that true? Andy Merstein, the owner, co-owner of the team, confirmed it. And Bubba said, yeah, I've owned a piece of the team since 2019. I just didn't talk about it very much. But he did tell me it is not locked and loaded that I'm staying in this 43 car next year in 2021. There's an offer from the 43, and he said, frankly, there's an offer from Chip Ganassi Racing for the 42 car as well. He said, I'm weighing everything I can right now. We'll make a decision hopefully soon. So the saga, Rick, continues about where Bubba will wind up in 2021.
Well, yeah, and then Eric Jones's name got thrown into the mix just recently. So you have, Jimmy Johnson stepping away as far as retirement. Bubba Wallace, where will he end up? It seems like he has a few different offers that he is weighing right now. Eric Jones has mentioned that he has opportunities as we ride along with him, trying to get by William Byron.
I think that's an interesting situation to be in between choosing the 42 car or staying where he's at in the 43. I mean, performance-wise, they're very similar right now. If not, the 43 actually is on the uptick.
I think it's interesting that he mentioned that he had an offer from somebody, didn't name who it was. I'm not sure I've ever heard that before.
Love the transparency.
I know it.
Well, you guys mentioned the 42. It's getting to that point in the season. You know, Rick, we start. COVID stops the season gets back going again. Well, this is unfortunate news if you're Chad Johnson, the crew chief of the 42. He was relieved of his duties a week ago. Phil Surgeon is the new crew chief. Now, as a spectator, it kind of feels like we're back to normal. We're the middle of the year. Teams are trying to improve their performance. It's been no secret this 42 has underperformed. They had hoped to see more out of Matt Kenseth. No telling what he was going to have with his layoff coming back in the car. But this crew chief change tells me that Chip Ganassi Racing thinks this car can run better. And as we hear, I think we all know Matt Kenseth isn't a long-term guy there, right? So improve the performance and maybe attract another driver.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth had retired, and now he had come out of retirement. Two guys that aren't anywhere near retirement, obviously, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch. Brothers racing together. We saw this virtually all day yesterday. All right, Jeff Burton. What's it like racing against your brother? You and Ward out there on the racetrack. Is there something about, being the best brother on the track, too?
Well, to be honest, it's not fun, right? Because, listen, you said it. You're racing against your brother, not with your brother. That's two different things, right? Kyle Busch right now wants to go beat his brother, and that means he's got to take something from his brother that his brother wants. So let's listen to what Kyle Busch has to say about this battle.
Yeah, it's a little bit worse than the 3. Now it's clean air than turn 1. Turn 1's actually okay right now. It's just starting to come to me where the right rear is getting into the track. It was just smooth kind of all the way through, like just sliding it like I was talking about.
I like the feedback, how it's calm, it's to the point. I spoke to Kyle Busch this morning, asked him about that choose rule with all those crazy restarts, and he had an interesting take. Rick, he said, you know what I like about it? is when I used to start on the inside lane, I was mad because I knew that I was at a deficit. I was in the worst lane. He goes, now if I choose the inside lane, I think, you know what? It was my choice to be down here. I'm fired up, and I'm going to make the most of that restart. Just perspective sometimes makes a big difference.
The other thing he said this morning, Steve, was how optimistic he was about the way that car drove yesterday. He was happy with it.
We'll see if he continues to be happy here in Michigan. Aerial coverage brought to you by Geico as we look down on this massive 2-mile racetrack here in Brooklyn, Michigan, Irish Hills of Michigan. And this is something that, well, none of the competition wanted to see as we take a look at today's Xfinity fastest lap. Kevin Harvick on lap 10. He has turned the fastest lap. So once again, Kevin Harvick, even though he's not up front, Kevin Harvick running in the 9th position. You remember he started, well, he was supposed to start 20th, but with all of the cars that ended up shuffling back to the back, started a little bit further forward. But Kevin Harvick into the top 10 and has the fastest lap.
Yeah, Rick, as you mentioned, that's without having clean air, so the competition doesn't want to see that. Well, the other name on that list, Jimmy Johnson, he had the second fastest lap of the race. We talked about how important points were at this 48 below the cut line. Well, he had track position to start the race and just unable to keep it. He's fallen back to 11th. He's settled in, but the problem with 11th is that is 0 points at the end of the stage. Versus William Byron here in the 24 is up in the 4th position, working on the 3rd position. That's 8 or 7 points. So I know what Chad Knaus is saying, and Kelly reported that, you know, they don't want to be 16th in points because a new winner bumps them out. But currently, they are outrunning the 48 car.
You know, we show those fastest laps, Steve. That matters now because there's a formula to set the lineup for next week, and the fastest lap is part of that formula.
Yeah, you told me you were excited. You were going to take me through step by step.
There you go. This is it.
Listen, here's the simple fact, guys. It's a complicated formula, but all you need to know is it's about performance. Where you finish matters. How fast you were matters, and where you are in the points matters. I like that better than the random jar. As a crew chief, Rick, I just feel like I could fight my driver for 10th, 9th, 8th. Hey, man. This position, you may be sick of racing today, but one position may help us for a starting spot next week. So I like the new procedure. And Jeff, there will be a test.
Well, and what I would say,
well.
what I would say to that is Clint Bowyer has to feel a little bit better about it, because Clint Bowyer thought that the random draw was hurting him over and over and over. Well, all of a sudden, the random draw, the invert process puts him up front. He has a 2.7 second lead over the field right now.
So I rolled every time he said it. I said, come on, Bowyer, you keep blaming qualifying. I'm going to have to call him up today and apologize for all the eye rolls because, as you mentioned, over almost a 3-second lead, you know, 9 to go in this stage. It looks like this could be a very important 10 points for Clint Bowyer. Remember, he is winless as well, so he's in that points battle to try to make the playoffs.
So we know he's fast, right? He's driven away, has almost a 3-second lead at this point. So his pit crew's got to keep him out front. He's got to do great restarts to stay out front, because what we have seen with this car is when he gets back there in traffic, he cannot maneuver. He can't do what he needs to do. That's what Kyle Busch talked about his car yesterday. He liked his car, but in traffic, he struggled with it. So it shows you how important track position can be. Kelly.
I had a similar conversation with Clint this morning where he said the car really wasn't bad, but to your point, he just felt like he couldn't make any moves or any progress forward, being stuck back in traffic. So he told me with that front row starting spot today, he promised me he was going to be lightning quick, and he guaranteed to me a stage 1 win. So I've got him in my fantasy lineup, and now he's just 8 laps away from doing just that. And these are some valuable playoff points that they can score 10 stage points here. That will help cushion that buffer to the cut line. Remember, he won here back in 2018. Another one of those drivers who has a win this season and is really solid results, Ryan Blaney, a 4th place finish yesterday, and his crew chief Todd Gordon told me really they were just a little bit too loose to contend. So they went after making some balance adjustments rather than going for raw speed. But he said, hey, if it comes down to us in the 4 car at the end of the race, I give us a shot at it. Marty?
Kurt Busch sitting in 9th right now, had a terrific run yesterday, but struggled in traffic, and the same exact story today with that #1 monster machine, saying when he gets around other cars, car just gets way too tight. Over the years, Michigan has been a terrific racetrack for Kurt, hoping he can get another good finish today. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin has not made much progress. Started 17th today. He's only made it up to 13th, while Harvick and other guys, including his teammate Kyle Busch, have made their way much further up in the field. But Denny said something very interesting at the start of the race. He said, we're not showing all we can show right now. We're going to be good by the end of the day. And they told me, hey, on this tire, it takes Denny a while to get going, but he knows when the car can be good, Kelly.
Tyler Reddick didn't really get to find out what his car was made of yesterday. They felt like they had a really fast race car, but he had contact with Martin Truex Jr. early in the race, a flat tire that they had to come in for, and that set him down a lap. They had more damage late in the race and were actually forced to go to the backup car. So they made a few changes, but felt like they learned enough about yesterday. They felt confident. Randall Burnett, his crew chief, told me they felt like they were going to have some speed again today. So starting from the rear, Reddick up to 17th, they have actually been able to make some progress.
Back up in the top three, Kyle Busch moved in the third position. Steve, you talked about the feedback we heard earlier. It seemed like Kyle's pretty confident and comfortable about this car and his opportunity to try to get that first win today, and he's driving right through this field.
Yeah, I mean, his confidence was there. And, you know, we heard it, though, right? He didn't run great for Kyle Busch standards, but he was still pretty positive. But, guys, the driver I'm looking at right here, Erik Jones in the 20. We continue to talk about the points. Well, he's below. This is the bubble battle. In front of him, William Byron in the playoffs. Him, first car out of the playoffs, riding on board the him in this statement is Erik Jones. So that's 1 point with the 24. Another 1 point if he can get to the 21. Another point if he can get to the 18. Here you go. A big run. Where's he go with it?
He has to check up. Oh, my goodness, what a run he had.
I love the fact he just drove it up in there. Going to get beside him and see what happened after that. That was fun.
James Davison probably didn't think it was that much fun driving the 51 there as he saw the 20 getting huge in his mirror.
So there's 1 point for the 20. Listen, 3 to go. I'm on the pit box for that 20, Marty. I am encouraging him. Tell him I'm loving what I'm seeing. Go give me some points.
Yeah, Chris Gale definitely saying that Eric's doing a terrific job out there. And I had the chance to visit with Eric before the race. Obviously, the news coming down this week, as you mentioned earlier, Rick, will not be back at Joe Gibbs Racing in 2021. And he said there definitely was a little fire in my belly yesterday to show, hey, you made a mistake. I should be in the 20 car, but I know there are opportunities out there for me. And Steve, speaking of Chris Gale and his relationship with Erik Jones, he called him right after they got the news, and he said, you know what? The best thing for you, the best thing for me, and everybody on this team, go out there and win. Prove your market worthiness and show you deserve to be in a top ride. And who knows, we all may move forward together somewhere else.
I like that strategy. I mean, I put myself in that position. What would I say? You know, I was at a loss for words, but I like that approach, Chris Gale. You know, encourage your driver, let him know, I want you to find a spot. The best thing I could do is to give you fast race cars. And he's
He's everything in this sport is constantly being evaluated, constantly, you know, being determined by the owners what is the best thing to do. So he's racing for his job too. Kevin Harvick with a big run right here. See if he can get to that quarter pounder of that 12 car.
Clint Bowyer, he called his shot. He said to Kelly, and Kelly obviously didn't tell any of the rest of us, or we would have had him winning stage 1, but he said to Kelly, he guarantees he's going to win stage 1. He backs up that call. He'll win stage 1 here at Michigan.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks a lot, Kelly.
Good job there, bud.
Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Matt DiBenedetto, Erik Jones, the top 5 in stage 1. Then it's Byron, Blaney, Harvick, Busch, and Logano.
And the first guy without any points, you mentioned it, Jimmie Johnson. The only other guy he's racing for that bubble spot that didn't get points was Tyler Reddick. All the other ones got points in that stage.
Clint Bowyer has been on a little bit of a winless streak. His last win, though, came at this racetrack back in 2018. Is the momentum there? He won stage 1. We'll see if he can stay up front. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Valspar. Available at Lowe's. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. And by Toyota. The 120th U.S. Open returns to Winged Foot. Defending champion Gary Woodland join Tiger Woods and the world's best. They face golf's toughest test. That's coming in September on NBC.
Rick, is it fair to say none of your open qualifiers worked out?
I'd have to agree with, that statement. That's fair to say. All right, guys, on the wall, getting ready. First pit stops. The end of stage 1 happened quick. So now can Clint Bowyer's crew keep him out front, or will somebody have a great stop? Will strategy come into play here, Steve?
I really think it's going to be 4 tires for everybody. My bigger concern is 29 cars in the lead lap. Now, Michigan is a very big pit road, but you saw that huge accident in Indianapolis at a narrow pit road. I would just be reminding my driver it's going to be busy. 30 cars on the lead lap. Let's not dent any fenders or sides here early in the race.
Again, Bowyer leading the lead lap cars onto pit road, Marty.
8th to 2nd for Christopher Bell. Had a nice run there in the first stage of the race and gets those stage points as well. So the car started tight, migrated free the longer they ran. He's pretty happy with it, though. Kyle Busch extremely happy with his race car. In fact, said it got better the longer they ran. If they can fix the freeness early in the run, that's his concern, Kelly.
Clint Bowyer made good on his promise to win stage 1. He said the car was a tick free, but not bad. Then he asked him to calm the rear end down a little bit. It was a 4-tire stop for Clint Bowyer.
Jeff, you talked about it. The 14 pit crew had to help the driver out. Unfortunately, not the case. He loses 2 spots off pit road.
How about Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, both gaining spots. They come off 1-2. Earlier this week, Verizon teamed up with NASCAR to salute our frontline healthcare workers. A display of vehicles, including NASCAR haulers, took a trip by Henry Ford Allegiance Health in Jackson, Michigan, where they celebrated frontline workers and their efforts to help keep the local community safe. In addition to the celebration, Verizon provided meals to the hospital staff. We want to thank you to Verizon and NASCAR for saluting those local heroes. And we want to go to the Charlotte studios, the NBC Charlotte studios, where we have Krista, DJ, and Brad.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. That's a great initiative you just showed there from Michigan. But back here in the Charlotte studios, Brad Doherty and Dale Jarrett, they're going crazy during that first stage. Brad, Clint Bowyer calls his shot. What else impressed you?
Well, I think the big thing for me is, especially after we got to the end of the stage, how well Kyle Busch is running. Got off pit road extremely well. He's put himself in great position for this restart. Also, that 4-car, man, he just finds a way throughout the day to keep putting himself in good spots. Christopher Bell lost 8 positions on pit road, so I think it's the mistakes. You cannot make mistakes if you're going to contend at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, certainly. Clint Bowyer's been saying, hey, put me out front. Give me a car that I can do something with. You know, I need better qualifying positions, which was a draw most of the time. But he did exactly what he needed to do. Had a great stage there, a lot of confidence there. Kyle Busch's crew did a fantastic job, and he was going to be really happy till he looked up at his mirror and said, oh, dang, or something like that, when he saw the 4-car was right behind him.
I bet he said more than that.
A lot of drivers making the most of those good starting positions after that inversion from yesterday's race, Rick.
All right, it's time for the choose rule, guys.
It is. Well, Rick, we just heard Brad Doherty talk about mistakes. Big mistake for the 12 of Ryan Blaney. They came down pit road, didn't get the car full, had to stop a second time. You talk about the choose rule. All right, it's pretty simple. You get to start finish line just past. There's this orange V. If you want to start on the inside, you hang a left. You want to start on the outside, you hang a right. The only thing you need to do is left or right, pick, and pick soon, because if you hit that orange box right there, that can be tough to see, you will go to the tail end of the longest line. So we saw a lot of guys take the top drivers. That was the preferred line yesterday. What do you think they learned yesterday we might see different today?
You mentioned it. They said it's hard to see. A lot of these guys are having trouble seeing that small triangle painted on the racetrack, especially as the sun goes down and the shade is cast across that racetrack on the front straightaway. It gets even harder to see.
They've actually added a cone. That was
3 of them.
Yeah. Well, they were there yesterday, but I was told they might add another one just to make it a little bit easier. Not sure that they did, but let's see who picks what. I bet Kevin Harvick, that team, 6 spots on pit road. That was really that team's weak point in the past, but this year they have been phenomenal on pit road. Clint Bowyer going to the top.
So William Byron will choose the bottom. Now, we saw a push help that bottom line take the lead a couple times yesterday.
Yeah, that's
Jimmy Johnson jumped in behind the 24 as well.
It's definitely worked for that guy on the inside line up front. What's been hard is for that guy who's in 3rd, the guy who's in 5th. The cars that aren't on the front row on that inside line really need to be aggressive, forcing their way into the middle or the upper groove. Try not to lose too much off of turn 2. That momentum off of turn 2 is what's critical on these restarts.
We saw talking about that. We just saw the 14, right? He was leading this race. He came on pit road, lost two spots, came out third. He picked the top. So essentially he's restarting 6th.
That's right.
Right? Why did he pick the top? Because he was afraid if he went to the bottom leading and it didn't work out, he could find himself 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. So he just doesn't have confidence in his car to go take that chance to try to get the lead from the bottom.
Well, I'm proud that as the drivers adapt to this rule, our friends down in graphics have adapted as well. They're going to give this for the viewers at home to understand. 1 through 10, you see where they lined up. Well, on the right-hand side, +2 for Byron, +4 for Jimmy by choosing the bottom. Joey Logano, +3. You mentioned it. Clint Bowyer really lost 3 spots by staying in the top. So you see a lot of movement within the top 10 through the choose rule.
But think about it. He came out third. He would have restarted in the same spot, right? If he would have picked the bottom, like he's just afraid of the bottom right now. He's just completely afraid to restart in that bottom lane.
Kyle Busch leading the field into the Geico restart zone. Busch, William Byron making up row 1 as we get back underway for stage 2.
Very organized in the top. 2 veterans out there. No surprise. I mean, them guys, they've done it for so long, and look how well clear they are. And Forrest trying to get that outside here. He's trying to get the outside quarter panel. He's way up the racetrack.
Now remember yesterday there was a little bit of bumping and it moved the 18 out of the way. Now the 4 helps the 18, but the 4 passes him, and now Kevin Harvick back in front in Michigan.
Wow, same thing we saw from Kevin Harvick yesterday. That's how he would get the lead back. Push somebody, then get up on the outside of them. There you go. Clint Bowyer chose that outside lane, right? If he comes out of this restart in third, he's going to consider that a victory because he wasn't going to really be able to pass both of those guys. Restarting the outside, he just was afraid he was going to lose spots. So they got what they wanted out of that restart.
Right, look where Jimmy Johnson is now. He restarted third. Almost back to 10th place. So hard for those guys on the inside line. That guy on the front, William Byron, hanging in there in fourth with the battle of Keselowski. He's going to get some help from Jones down into turn 3. Jones using that high groove is going to try. Oh, he's going to have to lift. Going to try to get the outside at 24. Couldn't make it work.
Now who gets the run? Erik Jones is way out of the gas. Is anybody? There it is. Joey Logano, Kurt Busch on the bottom trying to take advantage of him lifting.
Luckily, that 95 kind of stuck with the 20 and helped him pick his momentum back up. That's what I was impressed with yesterday, I think, Jeff, is when you lost momentum, if someone stuck with you, you kind of got it back pretty quickly. If they dumped you, man, you would fall like an anchor all the way down the straightaway.
Drafting really matters.
See some action on the restart. Martin Truex Jr. down into turn 3 here. 4 wide almost. He's got that 43 on his outside. Just can't get back to the gas.
Look at Austin Dillon.
I didn't really see a problem with the car getting loose or tight, but just wasn't able to get back to the gas. Like you said, Steve, lose that momentum. Everybody goes around you. They see blood in the water. They try to attack.
And Jeff, you mentioned Austin Dillon, no out of bounds here at Michigan. They can go down on the apron. We saw Austin Dillon all the way down on the apron trying to make the pass.
Great battle right here for third. Keselowski trying to side draft the 14 of Clint Bowyer down the back straightaway. Clint in the outside line is the preferred line. Brad still got a little side draft there. Look at Clint working that steering wheel.
He is sawing on the wheel, and we see that, the DeKalb camera looking back at him. What a perfect fit for Clint Bowyer, a country kid out of Kansas and a seed company sponsoring his car.
Brad still trying to side draft that quarter panel down into turn 1. Brad's going to be cleared. If I'm a spotter, I'm telling him, you clear, you're clear. Go ahead and go up there and take that line away. Take the air away from that 14.
You mentioned Clint Bowyer. Remember, we called him a few weeks ago, and he was on his farm, doing some farming.
Yeah, sitting on his tractor, actually.
Yeah. Flipping switches on that dash. Imagine he's trying to adjust fans or something to affect the handling of that car.
Right now, it's really important for Clint Bowyer to be providing information. Okay, I was leading this race. Now I'm not. And now my car is driving differently. How? What does it need to do better? Whoa, he was way loose right there. And that's what that is that's air. And so this is the first time he's been back there. And this is the problem we've seen with this 14 car.
And we just saw Brad drive by him for third place. And now Brad's on up here, passing the 18 for second. We saw this yesterday in the race. Keselowski had a really quick car. wasn't able to capitalize and win the race, but man, looking really good right here, Kelly.
And Junior, remember one of the things we saw in yesterday's race was some excessive tire wear, especially on the left side for a handful of these cars. A number of crew chiefs, in fact, told me they made adjustments to help that today. But this is a tire here, the left front of William Byron in the 24 team. You can see the wear that they had running those 40 laps there in stage 1. Now, it did seem like they got better as the races ran on, that the tire wear wasn't as excessive. But another team, the 8 of Tyler Reddick, he had cording on one of his tires at the end of stage 1, so still something these guys are contending with today.
Yeah, and that's a concern. You know, that was 40 laps. The fuel tank is 50. And Rick's strategy, sometimes you want to take rights. That might be your only option to catch the leader, Kevin Harvick, because only put 2 tires on it. Now you have to worry about tire wear.
Just 27 laps to go in stage 2 of the Consumers Energy 400 from Michigan International Speedway. All right, diehard fans, create your best rendition of the iconic Start Your Engines for a chance to be featured during Indy 500 pre-race coverage, plus a chance to win an Advance Auto Parts gift card. All you have to do, submit your video at callingalldiehards.com. And don't forget to tweet with hashtag IndyCar and hashtag YIMADiehard. The official app of NASCAR. It will put race coverage right at your fingertips. You can unlock premium content today with a free trial and get access to team radio communications. Just search NASCAR in your app store, or you can visit NASCAR.com/mobile. Want to get a few updates? We're going to start with Marty.
Yeah, Kyle Busch sitting in 3rd right now, Rick, and Adam Stevens said we unloaded maybe the best we have since we returned from the COVID break. And oddly enough, maybe one of our worst racetracks. He said for some reason at Michigan, we've never seemed to hit it. And in a time when we're struggling, it's an odd racetrack for us to hit it at, but they have done that. He has freeness early in the run. You saw that with Harvick and Keselowski getting by him, but right now Kyle Busch fairly happy with it. Car gets better the longer they run. Meanwhile, Joey Logano sits in the 7th position, and he is struggling with a race car that's too tight. And you see him sort of in the middle of the racetrack. He told his crew chief a moment ago, Paul Wolf, he said, the higher I go, the tighter it gets. It makes it worse. So I kind of have to hang out in this middle part of the racetrack to make the car work, Kelly.
Eric Almirola's streak of top 10 finishes ended at 9 yesterday. They finished 16th and really struggled with a race car that was just way too loose. Crew chief Mike Bugarevich told me they made a lot of big swings at it yesterday. It didn't seem to help. They're in a backup car now, so they had to start from the rear, but a lot of big setup changes seems to have paid off. Eric Almirola now just outside the top 10, running 12th. And for Alex Bowman in the 88, a change of personnel today. His usual spotter, Kevin Hamlin, is not here. He's out attending to some personal matters. So Robbie Fast is up there spotting for him. Now, Robbie Fast is the spotter for Scott Dixon, the IndyCar champion, 5-time IndyCar champion. Scott Dixon, in fact, has won 3 of the first 6 races already this season, but a different set of eyes keeping an eye on the 88 and communicating with Alex Bowman today.
And you just have to wonder, Rick, I don't question the skill set of Robbie Fast, an IndyCar spotter, but, you know, drivers, I'll ask you, these restarts take my breath away. Would it not change just the tone and maybe the type of communication? It doesn't matter if he knows what he's doing or not, just what you're hearing could be different. Would that bother you?
Yeah, William Byron right here is bothering me. He started on the front row of this restart, dropped all the way back to 13th place. And why does that matter? Jones is running 6th right now, and the points difference is now 3 points. Jones gained 15 points yesterday. He came into the race 16 points behind Byron, and now he's only 3. William Byron, these guys need to get this thing figured out.
And remember, we have the road course at Daytona coming up.
Yes,
next week. Nobody knows what to expect. The last race of the regular season is back to Daytona on the 2.5-mile track. We know what kind of craziness that can create. Then a doubleheader at Dover. So you better perform right now. There's some serious wild card races coming up.
Yeah, Jeff, we talked about, this battle for 16th, but you think it's a battle for 15th.
Or 14th.
Really?
Yeah, I think you could have 2 winners. A super speedway race at Daytona, right? Wouldn't be unusual to have an unusual winner there. And then the road course at Daytona. Who is going to be the favorite? How do you even pick a favorite going to that race? So I think you better prepare for best case scenario 15th, worst case scenario 14th.
Well, that 95 is running 5th. He's 20th in points. Right, if he would pull off a shocking win today, that would send shockwaves through the playoff picture.
Sure would.
Well, I think we've seen that already with Cole Custer and Austin Dillon both getting wins this season and more or less shocking the field. Now you've got Christopher Bell, who's up here, as you mentioned, in the top 5.
And Jimmie Johnson having 2 shots at it back-to-back at Dover.
Yep.
You know, where he's so good. We haven't really seen winning speed from that team, but you know, going to Dover, you always got to assume Jimmie Johnson's going to run well.
You know, as we're watching Christopher Bell, we talked to him a little bit earlier, and it was interesting. Christopher Bell was unbelievable in the Xfinity Series, was phenomenal, part of the big 3 for 2 years back-to-back. When we asked him about how's the transition been from Xfinity Series to Cup, he says you can't compare the two. It's uncomparable how different Cup racing is compared to Xfinity Series racing. So that's what, and we were talking about earlier today on our call. There are 8, I would say, locks for the Hall of Fame that are right now currently running in this race. And one of them right there with Denny Hamlin. But that's the competition that Christopher Bell has jumped into. He's racing against the best, maybe some of the best of all time, right here on the racetrack.
I was talking to a young driver, and I said, I always equate it to, jumping in the deep end of the pool. The driver goes, no. The deep end of the pool, at least to swim to the shallow end. It's more like getting thrown in the middle of the ocean. He goes, I don't even know which way shore is when I'm back here trying to race with these guys.
Hamlin's going to make his way around that 9 car. Denny had a fast car yesterday. Hasn't quite drove up through this field the way maybe Harvick has, but gets that battle for 8th.
We just heard the report by Kelly for the 10 of Aric Almirola, and whatever they have changed. I talked to Aric, and he said, we were a little too trimmed out, trying to add some speed yesterday. It wasn't drivable. We know what we had for that streak of top 10s. We thought we kind of earned the right to try something, which I completely agree with. They were going back to what I would call home base, a little bit more standard setup for this 10 car with their backup. Well, Jeff, it seems like home base is working for Aric Almirola. Continues to run great laps. Started last, knocking on the door of a top 10. This is what we have grown accustomed to seeing out of this driver over the last month or so.
Yeah, this is one of the cars that's actually been able to pass other cars, right? He's been clawing his way up through there, passing cars methodically, not in a fast rate, but we've seen him as right there when we got to the 1 car. As soon as we got to him, we saw a big wiggle from that 10 car. That's just that air coming off the 1. Good battle right here between Bowyer and Bell.
And Bell's running one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now.
We're starting to see that, right? With Christopher Bell, this team is starting to see them on a weekly basis run much better than they were at the start of the year.
Running very strong. As we ride along with Clint Bowyer, he's getting a little pressure there. We'll go NASCAR nonstop.
Geico's been helping people save money for over 75 years. They've really stood the test of time, much like these majestic Rocky Mountains, which must be named after the Rocky...
That would be Rocky the Flying Squirrel, Mr. Gecko, sir. Obviously.
Come on, Bullwinkle. They're named after...
First President George Rockington.
That doesn't even make any sense, Mr. Winkle.
Geico, over 75 years of savings and service.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. Because people learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
I am the future, and I am now.
How about winning Daytona?
I am a face you may not know, with a number you may not know.
Ross Chastain back.
But you will. Trust me.
I am going to make sure my name will be the one you'll remember forever. I am the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I am NASCAR.
The greatest spectacle in racing, Indy 500.
This could be stacking up into an all-timer.
My goodness!
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Expect anything different? The Tracker 800 SX does it all. With impressive towing and payload capacity, it makes the hard jobs easy. Plus, an engine that's quietest in its class. Available now at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update. Right now, we're going to look at Christopher Bell. Currently running in the 4th position. He's about 5.5 seconds behind race leader Kevin Harvick. Christopher Bell, a young driver out of the Xfinity Series, fighting for Rookie of the Year here in the Cup Series. You see started 4th, or currently running 4th, started back in the 8th position. Young man really is focused. He's been a Toyota driver for quite some time now. I think Toyota really likes this young man, hoping for great things out of him. I know we've talked about Levine Family Racing, the team getting sold, the possibility as we ride along with Eric Jones, he's not coming back to Joe Gibbs Racing. A lot of people are thinking that we'll see Christopher Bell go over to Joe Gibbs Racing and fill that spot. Marty?
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, Eric Jones sitting in 7th and struggling with a race car that's extremely tight right now. How tight? Listen on the radio.
So tight on the entry to 3. I need to be better on the entry. So that's where it all starts, and then I just fall out through the center. I guess my entry just mostly to 3, and then it just, you know, once I'm tight there, it just carries.
He went on to say it's number 4 to 5 tight in the center of the corner. And when your scale is 1 to 5, that means your race car really will not turn in the center of the corner. Meanwhile, his teammate Denny Hamlin right in front of him has finally came to life. I go back to what Denny said about lap 10 of the race. We're not showing what we can do. We're going to be good today. He did not show it in stage 1, but here in stage 2, the 11 car has come to life. Denny right now sitting in 6th.
So let's ride along with Eric Jones. He was talking about he was tight on corner entry, right, into turn 3, and that's where he felt like all the trouble started. Well, you know, drivers have a huge ability to impact how the car drives, right? So obviously wide open down the front straightaway. This is he was obviously approaching turn 1, not turn 3. So watch what he does with the brake and the throttle. So he's wide open. Barely comes off the gas just a little bit in 1 and 2. Now watch 3 and 4, what he has to do because of the problems he was talking about. See those green dots? Drives in the corner, out of the throttle, almost all the way out of the throttle, and out of the throttle longer than he is in 1 and 2. That's what you have to do as a driver. You have to adjust your speed from each end of the racetrack, and also, Junior, the angle that you approach the corner at, you know, where you're trying to get the car to point, that can influence in making the car tight or loose as well.
Yeah, with this racetrack, the bottom groove is a little bit flatter. You see those seams? Each seam, the track kind of flattens out the lower you get. You can help the car turn by putting the left front on a flatter part of the racetrack. And he's adjusting his mirror just a little bit there. Let's go off in the corner here, and he enters pretty high. Good arc into the corner. He's not going to cross the seam to get to the bottom.
Look at the steering wheel. It just turns it to the left. Remember when we rode along with Clint Boyer? As his wheel was to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. Clint was kind of chasing the back of his car a little bit because he was free. Eric Jones, you can see his wheel. He just turns it, and he stays there. Look, it just sits there. That means he's tight. He's trying to get those front tires to work. Kelly.
Checking back on one of our rookies, Tyler Reddick. Remember, he won here at Michigan in the Xfinity Series, and his crew chief, Randall Burnett, told me he just loves these tracks, these big 2-milers, high-speed tracks. He said the more on-throttle time for him, the better. He also said he feels like a win is in with reach for this team, and while they could possibly point their way into the playoffs, Randall Burnett-Escruchik, we know, is not afraid to kind of throw a curveball when it comes to strategy, and he alluded to me today that if the opportunity presents itself in this race here, they might try to get off strategy from the others to try something to make up some of the track position. His best finish, a runner-up at Texas. And remember who he finished runner-up to? It was his teammate, Austin Dillon. So Austin now locked into the playoffs. And because of that, they're not really concerned about points. Yesterday, they actually showed some speed, kind of running up in the top 10 at certain points. And Justin Alexander, the crew chief, said, look, we weren't bad. We were a little too loose yesterday, so we want to make a few changes to try to get to that next level today. But it was a late race crash that forced this 3 team to go to a backup car, so they had to start from the rear. But guess what? This backup car is that race-winning car from Texas.
And Austin Dillon's brother, younger brother, Ty Dillon, drives the Geico number 13.
They're running 26 currently. I know they had high hopes on this tire combination. They ran 10th at Las Vegas on this tire, ran 16th at Kentucky, looking for hopefully another top 15. Yesterday, got an okay finish, 23rd, a little bit better than they had run, but good news out of the Dillon family back at Kentucky. Ty and his wife Haley announced that they're going to have a boy in November, a second child for Ty, so congratulations to the Dillon family.
Battle for 10th right here between buddies, Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott. Blaney restarted at the back of the field because he had to come down pit road to get more fuel before this stage began. And now with 4 laps to go in the stage, he's drove all the way back up into the top 10, got a fast race car. Looking at his lap times, he's pretty quick, top 5 lap times. Eric Almirola has been the quickest car of the last several laps, even better than his teammate leading the race, Kevin Harvick.
Junior, you mentioned buddies. Between Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, and Bubba Wallace, the 3 of those guys away from the racetrack will hang out and do things. Did you have a group of friends that were also race car drivers that you did things away from the track with?
Oh, yeah. Elliott Sadler, McMurray, Casey Mears, Truex, long list of guys that hung out with, and you know, even Matt Kenseth. But you know what happens on the racetrack, you weren't buddies anymore when you got on the racetrack.
Yeah,
kind of actually race those guys harder and use them up even more, because you know you could get out and go, hey man, I had to do it, you know.
So did you tell them that then, or you just tell them that now?
Yeah, he tells them that now as they're sitting around the campfire, you know, having
some of them at home doing what?
Yeah. So how is Kevin Harvick so dominant at this racetrack? Well, not only this racetrack, but this year, but especially this racetrack. He won every stage yesterday and the race. Now he's looking like he's going to end up winning stage 2. He's under 2 laps away from that. But this guy is in a class of his own right now.
This is perfect, the perfect combination of a racetrack where they can trim the car out, right? He has the car trimmed out, and he has the speed in the corner, the comfort in the corner from Rodney Childers. Marty.
Final lap of stage 2 here. Kyle Busch came on the radio a moment ago, said, hey, I feel like I have a tire coming apart. Now, I saw the first set of tires that came off of Kyle Busch's car. They looked fine, but we've seen cording on that left front. Kelly showed us that a moment ago from William Byron. But if they can hang on, it should be fine. Last lap, fortunately, but Kyle Busch says he feels like he has a tire coming apart.
Well, he's sitting right there, right behind that 2 car. He doesn't look like he's off the gas, trying to nurse it home. Racing for second here.
Yeah, Harvick's going to win the stage, and it looks like the Keselowski-Kyle Busch battle will go to Keselowski. And there has been bad luck for the driver of the 18 virtually all 2020. But he's able to finish that stage as we go through the top 10. All will get points. And those that need it, Eric Jones, he was able to gain some points there because he is right now fighting to get into the playoffs. A guy who has no problem with the playoffs, already 5 wins on the season, has won stage 2. Kevin Harvick gets the green and white checkered flag. Coming up this week, NBC Sports on Sirius XM Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. Make sure to tune in. A.J. Allmendinger is going to join the crew. And it's going to be awesome because he talks, obviously, about Road America. He finished second there yesterday. But he's going to be racing the Xfinity Series race next weekend, which will be at Daytona. And so you'll want to tune in for that 8 a.m. Eastern again on NASCAR Radio Channel 90. As I mentioned, next weekend, the Daytona Road Course. That's next Sunday on NBC. And nobody has experienced it in NASCAR at the Cup level because it's never been done before. So that's going to be interesting. No practice, no qualifying. Green flag, go, guys.
A lot of guys will be spending time on them simulations, whether it's a manufacturer simulation, iRacing, whatever. I'd be running laps and laps and laps on that.
So turn 1 is really, really wide, and I expect every inch of it to be used on lap 1. I mean, it's going to be crazy. Like, you don't even know where your braking zone is. Like, how do you know where to slow the car? No practice, no anything. I don't know we've ever done anything like that before in this sport.
Well, if it's anything like the Roval out here behind us, break sooner than you think.
They practiced for 2 days.
They've been straight in the wall.
Imagine how much they tore up in practice.
Yeah. And once again, you see Kevin Harvick up front, and the field headed towards you once again, Marty.
Solid stage there for Kyle Busch, who winds up with 16 stage points today after the second stage. And he said, I definitely had a vibration the last 5 laps of that run and was really worried about it on that last lap. Unlike the first run of the day, though, the car got tighter the longer they ran, having a struggle getting those right side tires to the other side of the wall. But Kyle Busch with an air pressure adjustment to free it up, Kelly.
Brad Keselowski said he needed a little bit more stability and some help on entry. You see the chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Keselowski. And Kevin Harvick said he was really good in 1 and 2, just a little bit tight in 3 and 4. Said don't do much, free me up a little bit with an air pressure adjustment.
Harvick's going to hold his spot, and it's Kyle Busch who gains a position. He'll come off pit road second. Loses a spot, Keselowski. Biggest mover, Ryan Blaney, up to 7th, moving up 3 spots. Getting ready for the final starts, the final stage about ready to get underway. But before we do that, let's go to Rut, and he has been monitoring social media all afternoon. Hey, Rut.
That's right, Rick. So much fun stuff going on. First off, how about Jimmie Johnson? He has been getting a little more of that celebration we've been missing this year. He had a nature trail named after him there at Michigan International Speedway. Pretty exciting. I mean, it makes sense. He's always been very health conscious. He's run the Boston Marathon. But on the Hey Rut side, we've been getting some really cool classic cars. Take a look at this 70 Roadrunner that Mama Lou sent. That's right. Denny Hamlin's mom sent this picture of Denny's dad, Dennis, by their Roadrunner. I'm telling you guys, there's some real connections between families, cool cars, and that track. Steve, if they named something after you, what would it be?
Not a nature trail, Rut. I appreciate you pointing that out. Perhaps a booth at a local diner or a nice stool at a local establishment, but never been out on the nature trail. I mean, Jimmy's invited me, but I don't think I could keep up with him.
Okay, the choose just took place. This is how everyone fanned out when they came in.
Once again, we see the top popular Denny Hamlin. Now, what did he tell us yesterday? Any chance I can move forward, I am. Well, now he's going to be on the front row.
Okay, 2 stages in, you get from 1st to 10th, you'll get points if you finish in the top 10 in stages. Here's who's gained the most points today. Clint Bowyer, Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell. All 3 have been able to gain quite a few points, all 3 winless still in 2020.
You mentioned Christopher Bell. We just came on pit road. The first pit stop he came on, he lost 7 spots. And in this pit stop, he lost 2 spots. That's 9 spots overall. So Christopher Bell, with 16 points earned so far today, has run well the entire day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just lost 2 spots. Look where he's going to line up. He's picked the top. He came in 4th. He's essentially lining up in 10th place on that outside line.
And now we're in the final stage, Rick. We'll be coming to 65 to go when we take the green flag. That's outside their fuel window. So a pit stop's going to be required somewhere in here. We'll see if they get a yellow. They had yellows yesterday. We didn't have to see green flag pit stops. We'll see what we get today.
Surprisingly, 9 cautions yesterday, and we have only had the 2 cautions for the end of the stages today.
You've jinxed it. You have jinxed it.
I didn't mean to. All right, the field approaching the Geico restart zone to get underway with the final stage.
Outside line, not as organized as it was the restart before. You see that inside line. Blaney pushing that 11 car down into turn 1 into the lead.
Now Blaney turned left on the 11 car. Remember, Blaney had that penalty, or not a penalty, but had to stop for the second time for fuel. And so he has been working himself back from the back, and he is doing a nice job right here. Might have to leave with Harvick pushing him.
Yeah, but Harvick looked like he wanted to figure out a way to go around these guys. It wasn't an opening.
He was going to try to go 3 wide, but Blaney was ready to block that.
Here he comes to the bottom. So Kevin Harvick wasting no time trying to get back to the front.
But he's on the inside line. That outside's lined up. They're going to push right back by him. Blaney into the lead, the 11 car, Denny Hamlin to the outside. Here comes Chase Elliott to push Hamlin through.
Guys, I'm making a note. We saw this at the end of yesterday's race. The bottom can work. If you can pull up and gain spots, you can make it work on a restart.
Pretty strong right here for Kevin Harvick. We'll see if he's able to clear the 11. Now he's going to side draft him, try to pull him back a little bit.
I think good forward momentum. Yeah, good forward momentum getting into the corner. That's the key. You have that forward momentum. That tends to let you get that pass made. He's clear.
He sure did.
Look at Blaney, though.
Oh, the 9 almost in the fence. Chase Elliott almost in the wall. Maybe did get the fence a little bit there off turn 4.
He's getting a shove from the 18 of Kyle Busch. Maybe
big shove down into turn 1. Huge run. So watch right here. It was close. Oh, yeah. Just barely gets into the wall there.
Keselowski able to get by the 18 now. Kyle is pushing Brad Keselowski. He has a big run.
Oh, the 4. The 4 went in there and committed to the top, but also Blaney did as well, and it took all the air off the 4 car, so Denny Hamlin can go around on the inside and take second place. I don't think that Harvick was expecting the 12 car to run that high. Blaney was watching that line and took it away from him. See the bottom screen where Blaney ran. That's typically what he does, is run that middle line. That time he took the groove away from Harvick. Now Harvick's fending off a battle from Brad Keselowski for 3rd. First time we've ever seen this 4 car kind of vulnerable here. Harvick loose right there into 3.
Wow. Moving around a lot.
Battle for the lead off of turn 4.
Here comes Denny Hamlin in that FedEx 11.
He didn't get there, but the guys behind him is who he needs to worry about. The 2 has a great run down the front straightaway. He's going to clear that 11 car down into turn 1.
Yeah, 11 had a problem off turn 4 and just lost all of his momentum. Brad K making a move on his teammate.
Loose.
They catch the 12 and the 2 into the wall.
Hard hits.
Penske drivers.
Rolling here, we hit pretty hard, guys.
You saw the 2 go up the racetrack, catch the 12, both of them into the wall coming off a 2.
Man. Hard racing.
Brad hit really hard. Overcorrected that car up into his teammate and right into the fence. They both hit the wall hard, but Brad's angle was pretty tough. Tough crash too, because both these guys were fast.
And it's frustrating, isn't it, when your teammate, you know, you're racing hard. Brad didn't mean to wreck him, but he did. It's just so frustrating. Here Brad drives to the bottom. Now he's on that flat surface. Left side's on that yellow line, loses it, gets up the racetrack, gets into Blaney. Big hit. I really think, guys, look at that hit.
Wow.
Hard hit.
He slammed the wall hard. Wasn't able to steer that car then. Took a long time for him to get it stopped.
And, you know, many times we've seen Blaney leading races and getting a crash. Feels like I've seen that several times.
That's tough.
He's got the momentum. Clear
That's tough because it's your teammate.
Bring back now, right in front of you. Go low.
Racing hard.
Yellow's up. Good.
Racing for the lead.
Look right here. See right there, Keselowski really low. It's so flat down there. I just think that got his car unsettled. Back of the car started around. You said it, Junior. He had to turn right to keep from spinning out and just turn directly into his teammate.
We see Brad Keselowski climbing out of the number 2. The AMR safety team right there to assist him. He's going to take a look at the car. He knows that was a hard hit. Again, we mentioned coming off of the win last week, looking to get a win here at Michigan, his home state. And it's not going to happen today. Keselowski trying to get by his teammate Ryan Blaney for the lead. Gets loose, collects the 12, into the wall hard. 12 and 2 out of the race at Michigan. And they bring out the first caution for an accident today. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. So as we were going to break, I mentioned the first time that we have had a caution based upon a crash. And it ended up being two drivers from the Penske organization. Ryan Blaney, who was leading the race, had a great car. Brad Keselowski fighting for the lead, also a great car. So drivers, two of maybe the best cars on the track, out. What can we expect for the remainder of this race?
Well, these guys are just getting such huge runs down the front straightaway, pushing each other and drafting up on the cars in front of them. And they're going into turn really faster than they usually go, and not really knowing, you know, how much grip they're going to have. Jeff, you mentioned it down on that bottom. It's a little flatter. Brad was right against that yellow line and just really got loose underneath his teammate. I think his teammate kind of, you know, using the middle groove, just put Brad in a precarious situation. But Brad was carrying so much speed down in there and really committed to making that move down there, and then lost control of his car.
Yeah, racing happens. I mean, that's what that was. That was just racing. You know, there were 9 cautions yesterday, 6 of those in the last stage. But watch this one. See the 2-car, Brad Keselowski has just got those left side tires on that yellow line. It's already flatter in that bottom lane, and the car just got away from him, got loose, and it just happens. I mean, you know, if you're going to battle for the lead and battle for position, you're going to have these incidents. And I know that Ryan's not going to be happy getting wrecked by his teammate, but nothing intentional by any means there.
Well, a couple of other drivers on board with Clint Bowyer right here. We see the accident up ahead. Well, Bowyer, oh, man, he thinks he's fine. And here comes Alex Bowman into the picture. Pretty significant damage to both cars, the right side of the 88, the left side of the 14. So while all the focus was on the Penske cars, as it should have been, in that huge accident, 2 other players affected by that accident, Clint Bowyer and the 88 of Alex Bowman. You see the damage working on the right rear. We see how fast this track is, right, Rick? We just saw how loose, how quick it could go away. That damage is going to affect these 2 race cars, so we'll have to just keep an eye as they go. You know, as I look at those Penske cars, guys, that shows the value of wins. Because while I don't love that both these cars wrecked, if I'm one of the crew chiefs, at least we both have won a race, right? We're not scared about making the playoffs. That's what I like about the tough racing inside these organizations.
That's a great point. With 57 laps to go, I want to bring in DJ and Brad from the Charlotte studio. All right, guys, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that the 4 team was going to be fast. Has anything else surprised you about this race up to this point?
No, I think that's been the story, but I think one thing that we're going to see here in this final stage is the intensity ramp up, and we just saw evidence of that, and I think that we'll see more action as this goes on. And I would also say this, I hope Brad Keselowski used quick dry and ink on that contract.
Yeah, it's a tough day for those Penske cars. And yeah, you know, you saw Brad carrying all that speed on the bottom of the racetrack. I'd like to ask Steve Letarte, do you think the lack of reapplication of PJ1 maybe put him in that position to where he had to try to go for something a little bit more on the bottom?
I think Brad's absolutely right. You know, that's a great point, Brad. The darker area of the racetrack, that sticky stuff they spray, well, it was fresh yesterday. It's not fresh now, and that's forcing the drivers to find different ways around. And I really believe that's why Blaney was running the middle and kind of forced Brad down to the bottom. As you said, Dale, it was just, you know, Ryan didn't do anything wrong, but he definitely didn't cut him a lot of slack, right? He said, if you're going to pass me, you're going to use that bottom lane.
Yeah, Ryan went down in the middle of the corner. He's been running there, and that just didn't give Brad a lot of room to correct. Now, Brad was wrecking, but he didn't have far to go to get into his teammate.
Here was the choices that were made by the drivers. Again, a few of them making a little bit close call.
Guys, I'm just surprised more guys.
Watch right here, guys. Watch right here. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Steve, but see right here? Matt Kenseth.
Almost on the box.
Inches away.
Hey, so I talked to Almirola about looking at this box. He said it is tough to see. You know, the other thing he said, interesting, Jeff, is he goes, you got to be careful because when you get to the start-finish line, everybody starts checking up. And he goes, if you don't pay attention, you'll run right into the back of somebody just because they're slowing down for the choose lane. And once again, you see it. Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, the Busch brothers gaining spots by going to the bottom. It paid off for Denny Hamlin. Can it pay off for the 18 of Kyle Busch?
We'll see who pushes best. Kevin Harvick behind the 11 and Kurt Busch behind his brother. Coming back to the green flag, back underway. 55 laps to go in Michigan. Still outside of the fuel window. 3 wide back behind this group, and it looks as though Denny Hamlin is going to have to fight off the 4 again.
Big
smoke. Yeah, big smoke coming out back behind here.
That's the 14 of Clint Boyer. They didn't get the tire rub, the damage from the 18 car and the contact they had.
I don't think they pitted.
Oh, well, going to have an issue with that. 4 cars to the outside for the lead.
Clean air for Kevin Harvick. Spells trouble for the rest of the field, and he's out front again.
And just before that caution, it looked like they may have an answer for that 4 car, but 2 of the best cars, I think, today were taken out in that wreck. Now what can Denny Hamlin and these rest of these guys do to try to make sure Harvick doesn't sweep? Look at that tire smoke. That's pretty bad. I think you have to consider bringing him to pit road, Steve.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked they didn't come after the accident. You see the damage on the left side. I know you don't want to give up the track position, but now, I mean, what do? This is a tremendous...
Don't get run over, though.
Oh, yeah, he's coming. He's coming right here. Kelly.
Yeah, you just heard the call. They told him to come to pit road as soon as he could get clear. I mean, when they first assessed that damage, they felt like it was mostly in the door. They said the fender is wrinkled, but they did not think they had a tire rub. That's why they left him out there for the restart. But obviously, we saw the smoke. They've got to come in here, pull out that fender, and change those tires so they don't have a future rub.
Guys, Johnny Klossmeyer has to take control of the situation. It's easy to say after you see that it rubs, but this is a 180-mile-an-hour racetrack with over 50 laps to go. Clint Boyer had points. He was having a good day, gaining those stage points. Take your medicine. The 88 ran into you. There's nothing else you can do. Now the 14 on pit road, the field coming by him. He's going to lose a lap. Man, just a tough decision for the 14, but I think that coming to pit road was a much easier decision after that accident.
Yeah, and Steve, you know what that decision was made about? Track position. This, Clint Boyer's talked about it all year long. They had track position. They simply didn't want to go. Caution.
Christopher Bell in the 95. Had a lot of smoke rolling out from underneath him. It doesn't look like he got into, well, a little bit, that right side flattened. He was running 10.
Yeah, it looks like he's gotten into the fence off the corner.
And now if you were the 14, you wish you would have run one more lap. One more lap, they would have got lucky as could be.
Wait a second, Steve. Hold on, you can't change your tune.
No, I like pitting under yellow, and now I'm saying they wish they ran another lap.
Okay.
I like that I think the tire was going to go flat. I agree with the call of calling him in.
So another caution has happened here in the final stage, Marty.
Well, good to see Brad Keselowski out of the infield care center after a very hard hit. And Brad, I just want to know from your vantage point what happened there.
I just lost it. It's my fault. I feel really bad for my teammate Ryan Blaney. Marty, he didn't deserve that. I just came off of turn 4 and the 4 car was behind me. And he gave me a push, and I swear I went in the corner like 20 mile an hour faster than I had been all day, and got past the 11 and I went to get underneath the 12, and I just slipped, lost the back a little bit, and when I went to collect it, he was there, and I wiped him out and myself out. So I feel terrible for everyone at Team Penske, and especially Ryan Blaney. Gosh, he didn't deserve that. I should have woed way up. I'd been running wide open on the bottom all day, and I thought I could do it again, but with that big push, I overestimated the grip and ruined our day.
Honest words from Brad Keselowski. 2 Team Penske cars battling for the lead wind up in the wall.
Yeah, so dejected too, and I think it's so hard for Brad, especially because this is his home state. He wants to win here worse than anything. This is most recent what happened with Christopher Bell.
He gets down in the corner. He's already got a flat tire. Right rear tire was down because of contact with the fence earlier. Good save.
Yeah, able to keep it off the wall there, even with that flat tire. So now, here we see the field, with the exception of the 10, Aric Almirola darted out of this line. Marty.
And here comes Denny Hamlin saying, hey, we need speed once again. I hate to say it, but we need more speed if we're going to keep up with that 4. And you see Chris Gabehart making the call, fuel only. This is the call that Kyle Busch made with Adam Stevens yesterday. Same thing for Alan Gustafson and Chase Elliott. Fuel only, Kelly.
Well, Rodney Childers, crew chief on the 4, worried about those left side tires making it for the remainder of this race, so they opted for a 2-tire stop for Harvick.
2-tire stop, lost him 2 spots. Matt DiBenedetto gains 4.
And a lucky break. Clint Boyer, free pass, gets his lap back.
Now under 49 laps to go in this race, the Consumers Energy 400 from Michigan International Speedway. You can check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die-cast, and much more for all of your favorite drivers. Just visit NASCAR.com/shop. The other driver from Penske that was involved in the incident, Blaney, hanging out with Marty.
Yeah, out of the infield care center, Rick. And a moment ago, Brad said completely my fault. I didn't know I was going that fast into turn one. Does it make it worse, Ryan, because it is your teammate that took you out?
Well, yeah. I mean, just bad, just unfortunate for the whole Penske organization, right? I mean, we had two fast cars battling for the lead, and just, stinks that happened. And, he had a run, like you said, and just, I think he didn't think he had as big of a run as he had, and just got loose, and unfortunately got us both. So that's a shame to end our day like that with the Knauf Menards Ford Mustang. We were so fast, we had to battle back from having to pit again, and got to 10th for the second stage, and they got the lead, and I was like, all right, we can finally go back at it, and just got to get it there. So it's unfortunate, but I'm not, it's not going to carry over. Things happen, mistakes happen. Just a shame both of us got taken out.
Thanks, Ryan. Kelly?
As we prepare for this restart, Aric Almirola has inherited the lead by staying out, but that was not the plan. There was a miscommunication between driver and crew chief. Have a listen.
I'm thinking hot dog right now.
Apparently you have a different sheet than I have, bud. Yeah, that's what happens when you, yeah, we should not have done that. My sticker in here says hot dog is stay out.
Sounds like the original plan was to come in and take two tires, Steve, but that's sort of the risk you take when you start speaking in code.
Well, you ready? This is a backup car, Jeff, right? So you look right here at the 20, Jeff. This is what he's talking about. You see that sticker up there right above with all the different code words? That's what all these teams have. And let me go on record to say I hate all the code words. I think they're silly. I know people are listening. Dale Jr., we had a code word. When I wanted you to pit, I'd say pit. And if I want you to stay out, you'd stay out.
All right, restart happening. 47 laps to go from Michigan. Almirola, on a mistake, is out front. Can he capitalize on it, or will it be Harvick in the 4 who had 2 left side tires when he came to pit road? Can he take the lead back?
Kevin Harvick has to hope right here is if he can't clear Almirola, is there a hole behind him? That hole is getting filled up quickly, so now Harvick's got to make this work on the bottom. Look at him lined up on the outside lane.
Harvick's hanging in there.
Almirola way up the track.
Does he keep the momentum up?
Yeah, what does the 21 do? That's kind of the decision.
Go with a 10.
Yeah, he's going to help that 10 on the outside. Harvick's still hanging out there, man. Down into turn 1, the 10's going to clear. 21 can't quite get to the 4's quarter panel, so Harvick can either get behind the 10 here, which he does.
And why this decision for the 10 is such a struggle is not because we thought he needed tires to make it drive better, but I believe the rest of the field are going to stretch their fuel tanks. The 10 of Aric Almirola, Rick, is going to have to come to pit road for fuel. He cannot make it the final 46 laps.
So you think people are going to be able to go a little bit further than what their fuel window is? Right at it?
I think they're going to try.
Okay.
Great situation, though, for the 10 is that he had a very fast car, even faster than Harvick, while Harvick was leading before this last caution. So maybe this could work out if the cautions fall the right way for Aric Almirola to actually take the lead of this race, take control of this race.
Yeah, we've seen it, right? We've seen unfortunate breaks turn into good fortune. Maybe
I think
it'll work out.
Yeah, I think he was the best car on the racetrack, but I don't know if he could have passed Kevin Harvick on the racetrack. So maybe he passes him in the pit road, and this is what helps him win this race.
It's absolutely amazing how bad they ran yesterday. This 10 car, they were bad. They just ran terrible. And then switch it around, change setups, different car, and come out and have a car this fast. That shows you that the setups you put in these race cars has a huge bearing on how fast they can go and how the drivers can drive them. Great adjustment by this team, don't you think, Steve? I mean, to sit down overnight and go from running that bad to this well, that's some really good work by those guys.
Great adjustment. And when I talked to Aric this morning, I basically asked him, I said, all right, buddy, are you worried? And I could tell instantly by his reaction as you see Truex come into the picture fighting for 3rd over Matt DiBenedetto. He instantly said, nope, I'm not worried. I know what we were trying. It didn't work. I'm confident we could go back. You can hear it in his voice that he knew they had an answer. I wasn't completely sure if I believed him because he has struggled at Michigan, but he was absolutely right, and here he is leading the race.
Well, it was interesting in that conversation, Steve. He talked about they just were trimmed out a little too much. Didn't have enough for a grip. Needed to tighten it up some. That's what they're able to do today.
And Denny Hamlin almost went 3 wide there.
Oh, Logano lifted.
The great battle right here. All of them are out of gas.
So that's a situation right there where Logano, he didn't have to lift right there, but had he not, it could have gotten ugly. Came out of the throttle, gave Denny Hamlin a break. With 5 to go, he may not lift right there.
Yeah. If they're going for position, race win potential, you stay in the gas. Right now, Aric Almirola is staying in the gas. Remember, he came to pit road on lap 88, so he has gone 26 laps. Steve, you mentioned 46 around there for the fuel window. So he's got about 20 more laps. He's hoping that a caution would come out so that he can hold on to this position. But right now, he is under fire from Kevin Harvick, who's been the fastest in Michigan all weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a quandary for the 10 car. The leaders aren't going to stay out. They got a lot of confidence in these Goodyear tires, even though there is some heavy wear. You saw the 4 put fresh left side tires on it because of it. I think they all know it's about track position at this point. So, as you mentioned, Jeff, the 10 needs this thing to run to maybe 20 to go to force the back half of the field to pit with him so he can restart somewhere in the 10th or 12th position. I don't think there's any way he's going to stay in the top 10 with the strategy call. Look at the 4 car. That is so impressive. Just turns down the banking.
Can he get up beside the quarter panel?
Yeah, he's right there. He's going to carry this momentum down the back straightaway. Right on by the 10 car. Nothing Aric can do there.
But that's his own team car. The reason I said everyone I talk to when we talk about the 4, they say, look, he's good through the corner, but he is great down the straightaway. So you would think of a car that trimmed out, that low on downforce. He flies down the straightaway, but man, when I get to the corner, he's going to be out of gas, and I'm going to catch him. And Kyle Busch said the problem is he gains, X down the straightaway, and he doesn't give all of it back, right? He just finds a way to carry that speed through the corner, and it's not comfortable. I mean, look at it, it's wiggling around.
How about this, Aric Almirola dove to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get that clean air on the nose. He's holding on to second now. It's 3 car lengths that separate 1 and 2. Truex Jr. running third. Matt DiBenedetto is up here in the top 5, running in the 4th spot. Denny Hamlin is 5th.
All right, we talked about these restarts being crazy. Watch Alex Bowman down the back straightaway, 4 wide, by the way, into turn 3. Just gets up the racetrack. Look at how tight everybody gets. And then, look how loose the 37 car, Ryan Preece. Look at this save. And everybody behind him, really glad he saved. And then Kurt Busch and Matty D racing hard. Kurt Busch, didn't make contact, but that is a lot of work inside that car.
And so Kevin Harvick's back out front since we go NASCAR nonstop.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike, an Army family who's always at the ready. So when they got a little surprise, they didn't panic. They got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. After shopping around for insurance, they called USAA, who helped find the right coverage for them and even some much-needed savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA insurance has made the way Liz and Mike need it easy. USAA, what you're made of, we're made for.
Sunday dinner has always been special. These days, it's just nice to have something to look forward to. Well, break out the good plates and tell the kids to wash up. Because it's Sunday dinner, even if it isn't necessarily Sunday.
There was a time when brothers riding together meant fighting for the front seat. For the wildest ride. For the best view. To be the first one there. Or to catch the biggest fish. Well, at least the battles for the front seat are over. Luckily, not much else has changed. Toyota.
Sunday dinner has always been special. These days, it's just nice to have something to look forward to. Well, break out the good plates and tell the kids to wash up. Because it's Sunday dinner. Even if it isn't necessarily Sunday.
The greatest spectacle in racing, Indy 500.
This could be stacking up into an all-timer.
My goodness. They're off in the Kentucky Derby. Expect anything different?
Thanks to Geico's aerial coverage, we can see that the grandstands have started to cast a shadow over the front stretch here at Michigan International Speedway. Want to go through the field? Brought to you by Credit One Bank. We'll start up front with Kevin Harvick and Kelly.
And Rick, if Kevin Harvick wins today, it'll be his 4th Michigan win in the last 5 races here. I asked Rodney Childers if this track was starting to feel a lot like Phoenix, another place where they seem to always show up and win. He said, yeah, it kind of is a little bit. But he said, look, every aspect of our team is running so well right now. I almost want to show it to other crew chiefs to let them see just how good it could be. He also says the success they've had in this new format is because they've always just been so good at bringing the best equipment straight off the truck. They don't need a lot of practice time to dial things in. Behind him, his teammate Eric Almirola. The miscue was over the word hot dog, but he looks like he's got a hot rod now that he's been able to run up front. Erica said that Michigan has been a weird place for him. He always likes running here. He won a truck race early in his career, but the results really haven't shown for it. They were certainly frustrated yesterday, went to the backup car, made wholesale changes. Now Kid already gained a lot of track position before that miscue on pit road, put him up front. We'll see what they can do, knowing that they've got to pit one more time, Marty.
Well, Kelly, for the 2nd straight day, look who's come to life at the end of the Michigan race. Martin Truex Jr., who started way back in the pack, is up to 3rd right now, or struggled back in the pack, is up to 3rd. I asked James Small, the crew chief, earlier, think you're good on fuel to the end? He said, absolutely, no problems, Rick.
Yeah, it looks like Eric Almirola offering a little heat here to the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Did Harvick make a little mistake, which we have not seen in, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 races? He's almost mistake-free, but we saw the 10 of Eric Almirola get a little bit closer to the back bumper.
So we wonder if Kevin Harvick can save a little bit of fuel right here.
Doing good with what you're doing there. It's 300, so I'm trying to keep the temperature down.
There you go. Crew chief, 300, too hot, or is he okay?
Ooh, that was too hot in my day, but these guys have worked on trying to run more temperature that allows more tape, more aerodynamic advantage.
You see the tape right there on the grill. Looks like they've added some throughout the race. Maybe a little bit too much, Steve?
Well, I mean, it's a gain to have it on there. You know, sounded like Harvick I didn't hear panic, I guess, is how I go off the panic level. 300 made my stomach panic, but apparently Harvick didn't sound too panicked.
And to me, Rodney Childers saying, keep doing what you're doing. And he said, I'm trying to keep the temperature out. The only thing that he as a driver can be doing to keep the temperature out is to pull a little bit of throttle out of it, right? And not burn as much fuel. And so he's trying to save fuel and keep temperature out. So I think that's what Kevin Harvick's doing right here.
Let's get back to Marty.
Rick will keep an eye on the battle for the lead. We'll pick up through the field with Denny Hamlin, who sits in 4th and said on the radio a moment ago, it's not exactly what I wanted. Here's what Chris Gabehart had to say with Denny a moment ago.
I hate to say it, we need more speed. Yeah, I see that. I think I know how to get it. I don't have that car here. You know what I mean? So it's what it is. You're doing a great job. I think we got a lot more to race with today than we had yesterday.
And that's what he had to say yesterday. I just need more overall speed. Remember, they took fuel only at lap 106, asking a lot out of those 4 Goodyear tires to go the final 68 laps. Meanwhile, Kurt Busch sitting back in 5th, having a very solid day, showing the speed throughout the race that he showed in the first half of the race yesterday. He told the team a moment ago, hey, check out the car. I think I made contact with Matt DiBenedetto on that restart. I want to make sure everything is good. Kyle Busch sits back in the 6th position. They're the first of those cars that came at 106 and took 2 tires, other than Kevin Harvick, trying to make their way back up with a car that has been very consistent. And remember, they're better the longer they run. We'll see if that pays off for Kyle Busch, who's in 6th, Jeff.
Yeah, Chase Elliott currently running 7th. Remember, yesterday, he had a chance to win that race yesterday. Chose the outside lane. You wonder if he gets a chance today, if he would try a different lane. Interesting conversation with Chase this week. He doesn't like COVID by any means, but he does like the protocol that has brought a little bit more short track action into racing. Kelly.
Yeah, behind him, Matt DiBenedetto, another one of those teams that made some wholesale changes overnight, changing the aerodynamics of this car after finishing 15th. Those seem to have paid dividends. The crew chief, Greg Irwin, told me they really feel like Pocono was a turning point for them. They feel like they have had an uptick since then. And he said, I certainly think we're capable of winning a race to lock ourselves into the playoffs. But meanwhile, they've got a pretty nice points cushion right now, showing 41 points above the bubble.
22 of Joey Logano fighting with Matt DiBenedetto as he would go on board right here. Paul Wolfe, Joey Logano found success early in their relationship. 2 wins at the beginning of the year. When I talked to Paul, he says it's these 550 horsepower tracks we need to improve our feel. They were 8th the year ago, 8th yesterday, as we get a battle for the lead. The 4 of Kevin Harvick under attack by the 10 of Almirola. I think Harvick's going to easily go by on the outside here, but the 19 has joined the fray as well.
Things heating up front. Here comes Martin Truex Jr. as he's going to go on the outside of Eric Almirola. He takes the 2nd spot away.
Yeah, I think Harvick's trying to either take the temperature out of the motor or save some gas, but now he's got company in the 19 car, and that 11 car is climbing into this battle as well. It's going to put the pressure on the 4.
So temperature was a possible issue for the 4. They've talked about it. 300 degrees for the temperature on the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. Now he was under attack by his teammate.
So watching the throttle, Steve, we'll see what he's doing, if anything.
You know, Dale, I've been asking myself, how do you save gas when you run such a wide, it's like saving gas at Daytona. Very difficult to do. I mean, he's wide open, part throttle in the corner. I think that's more for handling the fuel savings. But down the straightaway, I see wide open throttle. You know, at tracks where you use the brake, I could say, hey, man, use less brake, use less gas. But here, I'm a little confused on how you could ask a driver to save fuel and lead.
Well, I think it was easier when Eric Almirola was behind him because it's a teammate, right? And you could roll off the throttle down the straightaway. But the minute that exchange happened, and now you got somebody else behind you, now you can. I think what you'll see him do is try to get away from Truex and then start trying to save some fuel. Good action right here, but this is what happened. How did Almirola catch Harvick? Well, right here, Harvick's underneath the 74 of Reed Sorensen, and he just got bottled up. Just lost a lot of speed, and Almirola went to push Harvick, but then said, I'm going to try to pass him. May as well go for the lead. And actually, this cost Almirola. I think Eric would have been better off just to push Harvick.
He doesn't push him, and Almirola has fallen to the 4th spot now. Harvick, though, continuing to lead at Michigan as we go nonstop.
Stop overpaying for sunglasses and get Shady Rays. Polarized shades at a great price that you can try for 30 days risk-free. If you lose or break them, we'll send you a brand new pair. Visit ShadyRays.com for 50% off 2 pairs with code TV50.
Today tastes like it's all fired up. Like it's cooling down. Tastes like open air and closed eyes. Today tastes like a Sunday ritual. And it never tasted this good.
Only Wendy's 2 for $5 has all the chicken you crave. You can choose from the spicy or homestyle chicken sandwich, crispy or spicy 10-piece nuggets. But let's be real. You're going to get those 20 spicy nugs for $5. Only at Wendy's.
Awesome internet. It's more than just fast. It keeps all your devices running smoothly. With built-in security that protects your kids, no matter what they're up to. Protects your info and gives you 24/7 peace of mind. That if it's connected, it's protected.
Here, you want a treat?
Even that pet camera thingy. Can your internet do that? Xfinity XFi can, because it's simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR.
Right rear flat for Alex Bowman in the 88, and that carcass is going to come off, which probably will bring out a caution now as it's on the racetrack. And sure enough, the caution has come out, and does that save Eric Almirola, who is running fourth?
That is exactly what the 10 of Eric Almirola needed. I mean, at this point, I don't think he could ask for an exact better lap. They have run long enough on the tires that I believe some guys are going to come to pit road as we see work on the 88 of Alex Bowman, getting some right side tires on it. Remember, he had that contact with the 14. You have to ask yourself, was there a rub? It was damage on the right side, but you can't ask for a better time. Jeff, you said 20 laps, get a caution. Man, your Magic 8 Ball's working.
Well, miscommunication. It actually helped this time.
Yeah.
One of the few times it actually helped.
Nobody say hot dog right now, okay? Nobody say hot dog.
If they were smart, we planned that the whole way.
Well, I mean, I don't think the leaders are still going to pit. I think they're going to save gas and keep their track position with 20 to go. It's been too tough. We saw yesterday where the Goodyear tires aren't worth a lot of speed, so I don't expect them to fire them on to go faster. But somewhere in this lap, someone's going to pit, whether that's 9th, 10th, 15th. You know, if you look at Matty D in 11th, Austin Dillon in 12th, Eric Jones in 13th, you know, where is the cut point?
I think with the 10 coming, he hopes that he draws the boys down pit road with him. A car that close up, a car in 4th place is going to pit, and he's likely to draw more than half the field down.
Does he take 4 Goodyear tires when he comes down, and will they help him enough with only, say, 18 laps, 17 laps to go?
I'm waiting to see how many follow me. If I come down pit road and I have 20 followers, I'm taking rights. If I'm the only one, and it is a very lonely trip for the 10 of Eric Almirola, at this point, you would consider 4 tires. You're not going to lose any time. Here you go, guys.
I'm shocked.
Guess what? Track position. Everyone knows they need it, Kelly.
Yeah, and no code words being used this time down pit road. Mike Bugarevich telling Eric Almirola they will take 4 tires. He dropped back to 4th, he said, because he burned off the front tires, just pushing too hard to keep up with his teammate Kevin Harvick. So it will be 4 Goodyear tires. And of course, they need that Sunoco fuel because they didn't stop last time. So they need that to get them to the end of the race.
Yeah, this caution is going to help out the rest of the field, too, because they're saving fuel right now. So we will be back for the restart here at Michigan. Take a look at today's Ram trucks built to serve, guys.
Can anybody beat Harvick? I mean, that's the answer we all want to find out. The 19 car of Truex has not really had a shot at him, and he's wanted one since yesterday. Here's his chance.
It says on that board right there, will we see more cautions? I think it should say we will see more cautions. I just don't see how with this intense racing on restarts we won't see more.
Well, you talk about cautions. Cautions lead to restarts. Restarts leads to decisions. The choose, top line, bottom line. Let's listen into the one of Kurt Busch and what they have to say about it.
Last couple restarts, the first 4 has chosen the top, but you know your brother, he may choose the bottom.
Little calmer on the one radio than it was yesterday. We heard some yelling back and forth between driver, crew chief, and owner about the choose. I like that clear bit of information.
Yeah, when we talked to Truex at the start of this race, he said he'd take that inside line if he could. So let's see if he does.
Look how difficult it is to see while we were riding along there, but now making the decisions. Oh, Kyle Busch right up to the last minute.
So Truex thinks that he's going to win. I'm going to win this race, and I'm going to do it by pushing the 4 car out into the lead, and I'm going to drive around the 4 car.
Well, Hamlin, seeing these cars go around this box. So just keep in mind the lines right there you can hit. You just can't hit the box with your tires. So if you see a driver ride over those lines, that's not a penalty. It's only a penalty if they run over the box itself.
Well, this is the same thing we saw yesterday with the 9 car of Chase Elliott. He had an opportunity to start on that inside row on one of the final restarts and chose the outside behind the 4 car and didn't win the race. Marty.
Hey, James Small, the crew chief for Martin Truex Jr., heard what he told you earlier, Dell Jr., that he wanted a shot at the 4 car from the inside. He said, hey, I know you want that shot from the inside, but to me, buddy, this is an easy choice. Take the outside. And Truex said, sounds good.
We'll see what happens. Let's watch Denny Hamlin, the 22. Let's listen to Denny and see what their guys are talking about.
22 is your first one. 3. 22 and 3. Yeah. I don't think we could ask much more there. I like it.
He likes the pushers he's got behind him for this restart. I do too. I think you got to go to that inside line and hope that you're wide open, right? On a restart, you're wide open down into turn 1, carrying full throttle all the way around that corner, so the shorter distance is the bottom. If you get the right push down the front straightaway, you will be leading this race if you're Denny Hamlin in the middle of turn 1 and 2.
So what's Truex's answer? Get to the right rear quarter panel of the 4?
That's what he's got to try to do. Just get to the right rear quarter panel and slow him down on the entry or right before the middle of turns 1 and 2.
They're not connected on either line, but it looks like 22 is going to get to the back. Nope. Nobody gets tandem down this front straightaway.
That 18 car got to the right rear quarter of the 22, and that kept the 22 from pulling up to the 11.
How about Kurt Busch in the 1 through the middle? Threading the needle, and Kurt Busch takes 4th away.
Denny Hamlin's got an opportunity right here. Not going to be able to get into the... I thought he might could get in that hole behind the 19. He's not going to be able to do it. See if he can make it work down here. It's going to be tough sledding to try to pass this 19 of Truex.
All this is working great for Kevin Harvick out front as he drives away from both these guys. They're going to side draft down this front straightaway.
See, I think about Hamlin right here. I just lift. I got a spot to go. He chose to be aggressive, try to get by Truex. Let's see if it works out for him.
Can he complete the pass and take 2nd and set his sights on the 4? No, here comes Martin Truex Jr. fighting back on the outside. Martin Truex Jr. has finished 2nd here 3 times, but never has won.
These guys are just slowing each other down with the side draft, trying to get position on each other. Denny's going to get that slingshot into turn 3, clear momentarily. He's going to drive up the track, try to take the line away from the 19.
Look how high up the racetrack Truex was.
He had to go up high, and now the 11 of Denny Hamlin has 2nd. 3rd, Martin Truex Jr. Kyle Busch is back there in 4th. Matt DiBenedetto was fighting for that 5th spot. Logano has taken it away from him.
And now they're 2nd behind the leader. Can they close the gap with 13 laps to go?
How strong is Kevin Harvick? We mentioned yesterday when he came into this weekend, he had won 2 of the last 3 races here. Then he goes and wins yesterday, making it 3 out of 4. And in a position to win his 4th Michigan race. You look at the numbers for Kevin Harvick, they are unmatched.
We saw Eric Almirola have to pit for fuel. Well, he has done some business on this restart. He has picked up 9 spots already in just a few laps. What he needs is another caution or 2. Fast race car, and a great job by getting those spots.
Almirola in 8th. Side by side here. We saw Kurt Busch as he was rocketing through the middle. Well, that momentum went away, and now he has fallen all the way back here to the 10th spot.
There's a ton of movement on these restarts. Always hard to keep up with. Everybody going forward and backwards. Looked like Kurt was going to be in great shape. Now look where he's at. Back up front, Denny Hamlin's closed the gap just a little bit on our leader. Chopped it down to 8/10 behind Harvick. Driving away from Truex, who I thought actually might have the best car, but Truex is under fire from his teammate, Kyle Busch.
I know the 18 of Kyle Busch is looking for that first win of the season, but it has to feel good for this 18 to come and have 2 races in a row. Good driving race car. He's going to try to get to the quarter panel of the 19. Unable to do it. You would think the 3 Gibbs cars could almost work together to try to run the 4 down, but so far to no avail, Marty.
And that's exactly what Martin Truex Jr. said a moment ago. He came over the radio and told Clayton Hughes, a spotter, boy, I wish I could get closer to that 11 and help him out a little bit, but I just can't stay connected to his bumper. And he said, I bet the 18 saying the same thing. We can't seem to push each other with the speed to catch that 4.
What was the hand signal out the window? Was that what line he was going to run, or a wave? Or I saw Martin's hand out the window like 2. Like, I don't know if that said, hey, man, I'm going to run the 2nd lane. If so, that's some impressive communication. We'll see if he sticks sticks his hand out the window again down the front stretch.
Hamlin's closing it slowly.
Maybe it was thanks for not running into me because it was awful close between the two earlier.
Maybe not. See right here, Tyler Reddick. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Sideways.
Wall saved him.
Wall saved him.
Yeah.
Just tagged the right rear. Man, he is sideways.
The former dirt racer found the cushion.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the cushion here is a soft wall.
So this time of day right now, as we're getting late in the afternoon, the track's just improving, getting better grip, getting faster. That really is a good thing for the leader of the race, Kevin Harvick, to carry more throttle. It's going to be harder and harder for Hamlin to be able to do anything once he even gets there. Battle for third here.
Yeah, what a weekend it's been already, and Kyle Busch maybe turning things around a little bit, unloaded better. They'll have a lot to talk about on the NASCAR America post-race show with Krista, DJ, and Brad after this race.
These two need to be careful side by side. The 22 of Joey Logano will be attacking them both here in a moment. You mentioned the leader, Denny Hamlin, has taken it down to a half a second for the lead, Dale.
Yeah, he has. Great run for Logano this weekend.
Is anybody surprised at the top two right now as far as how 2020 has gone?
I won't lie, I'm a little surprised by Denny Hamlin. He hasn't run as well in this tire combination. Yesterday, he faded at the end. I didn't have him a top 5 car today. I know Dale Jarrett did. He continued to talk about it at the beginning of the race. But Denny Hamlin has found a way to be competitive even on the tire combinations he doesn't prefer. So to your point, 2020, I guess we should just always say Harvick Hamlin.
But we think back to Kansas, all right? Harvick was leading the race. Denny drove up to Harvick and passed him on the outside. Harvick didn't even move into the higher groove to try to take that line away. So we've seen this before where it's easy to think, man, Harvick's been so fast, so good today. He's going to dominate and win another race, sweep the weekend in Michigan. But we've seen this 11 car drive up there and pass him at the end of the race before.
We've also seen before is that, remember at Indianapolis, where it looked like Denny Hamlin was going to drive to a victory. He had a tire failure late. These things are never over until they're over.
So Harvick takes the high line there. Denny has to go to the bottom. I don't know if Denny's car has the speed on the bottom. He's been making time, catching this 4 car, using the high line. Now Harvick's going to maybe try to take that away from him. No, Harvick to the middle, to the bottom of the racetrack, giving that 11 car the top. Denny again coming with momentum.
He's closed the gap. Remember, it was almost a second between them, and now it's less than 0.3 of a second between the top two.
Watch him gain. Look at Harvick looking in the mirror, and he's like, oh no. Getting busy now on that bumper.
Here he comes, the 11 with a run.
Now Kevin Harvick went to that top lane.
Denny has to go to the bottom. Not sure that's his preferred line, but he hangs in there. Harvick now with the momentum off the corner.
That's the advantage of that top lane. It just lets the car.
About 1.5.
Lets the car run better down the straight.
5 wins out of both of these drivers. They're the best
Harvick
in 2020.
Harvick to the top there. He's going to try to take away that advantage that the 11 car has been using in that line. Now look at Harvick looking in the mirror. Okay, I did some good work there. I'm looking in the mirror. The 11's not coming. I like that top line. I might try it again.
He's not going to give Denny Hamlin the top. He's not going to let him get on the outside of him. If he gets on the outside of him, it'd be hard to fight him off. Even if Denny Hamlin drives underneath him, he can side draft him and slow him down the straight. So Kevin Harvick makes a mistake here. It'll be on the top lane, not the bottom.
Kevin's almost driving half of the lap. Looking out the back of the race car. Man, what a great run through the middle of the corner for the 11.
Got a line right with you now.
He loses it a little bit on corner exit now. The 4 looks up there and sees that.
Strong
tries
point
to break
get
the
to
draft.
the center of 3. Everywhere else we got covered. I think
there.
he just
3 laps to go. The last time there was a doubleheader, these two switched the wins. Kevin Harvick won 1, Denny Hamlin won 1. That was at Pocono. Now at Michigan. Kevin Harvick's already won. Can he sweep the weekend, or will Denny Hamlin steal a win away?
Breaking the draft down the back straightaway.
Denny's better on this end of the racetrack. And 3 and 4 is where Denny's been able to make some ground. We heard the last time Harvick having to pull out of the throttle. Now Harvick back to the bottom of the racetrack. Denny's going to get a big run down this front straightaway.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised Harvick didn't run that top again. Here comes Denny with a huge run.
Now Harvick's going to go to the top. He'll go back to the top. Look at Harvick. He looked at he was in the mirror the whole front stretch. He's not even looking out of the windshield. jumped out of the throttle big time off the corner.
This is it. It's coming down to the final 2 miles at Michigan International Speedway. It's 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank.
We saw a huge mistake off turn 2 for Harvick, or an issue that both drivers had.
And Harvick has to remember that. He's got to make a little bit of a change so he doesn't have to come out of the throttle again on the exit of 2. He made that change, never had to come out of the throttle.
Great point.
Bragging rights for manufacturers right here in the manufacturer's backyard. The Heritage Trophy going to the winner. And right now, Kevin Harvick looking to sweep the weekend. Denny Hamlin's going to have some momentum on the high side. Will it be enough as they come at it for the final time? Kevin Harvick is going to sweep Michigan. He wins again.
Wow, Denny almost got back to him. But Harvick.
Timmy, great job, guys. Awesome job. 2 days in a row.
That was surprising to see him run the bottom in 3 and 4 and give that 11 car, Denny Hamlin, the opportunity to run him back down to the flag stand. But impressive several laps there by both those guys.
That was a fun race.
That was amazing. Watching the 4 car of Harvick. Look at the run the 11 has. Man. And he's like, almost. I'm almost there. He was excited. He's like, wow.
I think Harvick went to the bottom just to make sure he didn't make a mistake right there, get too high, knowing he was coming to the checkered. You know, he just, for some reason, felt more comfortable running the bottom, was afraid he was going to jump the cushion, so to speak, on the top.
Yeah.
Margin of victory there was 0.093 seconds. So less than 1/10 of a second separated the two at the start-finish line.
And that breaks the tie between these guys, both having 5 wins coming into this race. Harvick has 6 now. Incredible season for both these guys.
Oh, yeah, all these competitors, they've talked about how they like doubleheaders. They like them until you got to race somebody like Harvick on a place where they're so fast.
Yesterday, Kevin Harvick with his win, he tied Lee Petty for 11th in the all-time wins list. Now he sits alone in that 11th position. Kevin Harvick, a guaranteed Hall of Famer, is really putting together an amazing 2020 season. He is the first driver to win back-to-back races in back-to-back days since Richard Petty did it back in 1971.
Let's look at the exit of turn 2 here. This is where both these guys, this was Denny's chance.
Trying to get out, watch your bottom there. Watch your bottom. Trying to get inside. You're clear again.
Yeah, that was way out of the game. I know, I was so surprised that Denny didn't have, Denny didn't drive right by him, but that tells me Denny was also out of the gas right there too.
Denny's tight right there. See how tight Denny got getting up the racetrack. Wow. But when you come out of the throttle on corner exit, and the guy behind you doesn't pass you, you're like, whew,
that's what I was
got away with one. Got away with one.
I was like, Harvey is sitting there going, oh no, oh no, oh no.
You saw it, and when Kevin did that, you saw him immediately look into the mirror like, oh no, I just blew it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, the 11 stays behind him.
Yeah, that was a while. That's great racing, a lot of fun.
And so Kevin is going to head to the flag stand to grab that checkered flag once again. Pit crew, awesome job. Checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Kevin Harvick about to celebrate once again from Michigan. You see coming up NASCAR America Post Race Show. We're here with you until 7:30. That's when we'll see the NHL Top 10 at 8 o'clock. Deciding game here between Columbus and Toronto. It's Game 5. Harvick will be making his way back to victory lane. Not a very long drive here at Michigan from the flag stand across the track. And he's familiar with it. He did it just yesterday. They're going to check the lug nuts on that number 4 car. I just referenced what Kevin Harvick had done as far as the wins. 55 wins for him now, and that puts him into a tie. I said he broke the tie with Lee Petty, Well, now he's in a tie for 10th with Rusty Wallace at 55 wins. So into the top 10 now for Kevin Harvick. Kelly.
And it was nearly a perfect weekend. Just one stage win missing out of the 6 for Kevin Harvick to have swept the entire thing. Picks up his 6th win of the season. I mean, Kevin, one of your competitors told me racing against you here is kind of like showing up to a gunfight holding a knife in your hand. But Denny Hamlin found a way to compete with you there at the end. How big of a challenge was that?
It was a big challenge. Our Busch Light Apple Ford Mustang got really tight there in 3 and 4. I could run really good through 1 and 2 still, but I was just tight on that other end all day. So just got to thank all my guys. They did a great job all weekend on pit road. Great pit calls. Just got to thank Haas Automation, Mobile One, Hunt Brothers, Jimmy John's, Fields. I know, Noah, you're watching at home. Everybody who helps put this number 4 car on the track, and everybody at Stewart Haas Racing and Roush Yates Engines for awesome power underneath the hood this weekend.
You can kind of notch another bit on your resume here. You become the first driver to win back-to-back Cup races on back-to-back days since Richard Petty did it back in '71. You've done a lot of cool things, but is that kind of cool to notch your name in a record book like that?
Well, it is. It's been a long time since I've raced back-to-back days, let alone, in the Cup car. I've never accomplished that, obviously, but we've done that a couple times, this year. So, I think for us, it's worked out pretty well. We're hoping it goes the same way at Dover when we go there in a couple weeks.
We mentioned 6 wins now in this season. Your crew chief, Rodney Childers, told me that this team is firing on all cylinders from top to bottom. There is not a single aspect of it that isn't working at top level. What's it like to be the driver in that type of an organization?
Well, it drives you. And, I think when you look at my team, we've been together for going on 7 years now, and you look at the confidence that everybody has in each other, the details of the race cars and the thought of everything that goes into everything that we do is just untouchable. So that's what it takes, are details to make these race cars go fast. I want to say hi to my family at home, Keelan, Piper, Mom. See you kids in the morning.
All right, a weekend sweep here in Michigan for Kevin Harvick.
Thank you, Kelly. We take a look at the standings. Now, just 4 races remain until the playoffs will begin. 6 wins. Kevin Harvick has broke that tie with Denny Hamlin. 35 playoff points. That's like a mulligan in golf. You're going to have almost a whole race in each of the rounds that you're going to be able to utilize those playoff points. They go with you all the way up until the championship 4. Now at the 16-17 mark, a little bigger gap here. We see Eric Jones, Jimmy Johnson. They are 26 points behind William Byron. So you make the playoffs in the top 16, and it's a big fight right there to be in those playoffs. We go to Marty, who caught up with second place Denny Hamlin.
So close for Denny Hamlin. It winds up being second. So I know you've mentioned all weekend long you needed more speed, but what did you need on that last run, Denny, to catch the 4 car?
Yeah, it's just, once we finally got to second, I knew we had something for him. It just, got stalled there, and he was tight, I was tight. We were better, that's for sure. Just, he just had the track position, can kind of control the lanes there. Wish I had turned 1 and 2 to go do over again when we both lifted off of 2 there. I should have faked low and then went high, but I just thought I could maybe get to the quarter panel and shove him even higher, tighter, and just couldn't quite do it. But proud of this whole FedEx Ground Toyota team. Obviously a very strong run. We just need a little bit more.
Yeah, so you talk about that. At the beginning of the race, you said, we're good here. We're going to be good today. Did you know from the start, even though you kind of were back around 10th, 11th for a while, that you had a shot to maybe win this thing later?
Yeah, I knew we were going to be pretty good, especially when it cooled off there. But, we tried to put, maybe a little bit of speed in the car. But, overall, I thought we just had a really good handling car, and that kind of what it allowed us to keep pace right there. So I thought our whole team did a great job adjusting overnight, and obviously thought we were kind of a 1-2 combo both races, even though we didn't finish second yesterday. But proud of the whole FedEx team. We're just plugging along here. Just really hate giving up wins to the 4.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that. It's such a battle between the 4 team and the 11 team, Denny. I know you guys have tremendous respect for one another. Do you bring out the best in each other, Denny?
No question. I think that, one of the restarts, I think I was 5th, and I pulled all the way up to the inside line of the 4, and I'm revving my engine beside him just to give him a little exhaust fumes. But no, I got tremendous amount of respect for everyone on that team. And Kevin, as we've gotten older, we've gotten wiser, and we've learned to really appreciate what each other does on the racetrack. And obviously, they're having a great season as well.
Boy, it's fun to watch this heavyweight battle in 2020, and I think this is going to go all the way to Phoenix. And you see it right behind Denny. Look, Chris Gabehart, Rodney Childers having a conversation. That respect they have for each other post-race.
Yeah, it's great you mentioned that, Marty. It could go all the way to Phoenix. Well, who's very good at Phoenix? Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, two of the best at the Phoenix racetrack, which will end this 2020 season, and the championship will be determined there. All right, guys, so drivers. We saw two great races this weekend. The choose rule came into play. What are your takeoffs of what we saw this weekend?
I really like the choose rule. We'll see some of that more as we go through the season, but really surprised at Denny Hamlin and the speed he had at the end of that race. We saw the 4-car dominate yesterday. Everybody thought he had the best car and would win this race rather easily today, but toward the end, on the long run, Denny had more speed, more drivability in his car.
Yeah, the racing was really good all day, and all weekend rather. I continue to be impressed with Kevin Harvick and what he can do with that race car, and how all the competitors talk about how much speed he can make. And it's not easy to drive the race car the way that he and Rodney Childers are setting that race car up, but Kevin Harvick's finding a way to do it. You said it. Top 10 in race wins all time. Kevin Harvick is an unbelievable race car driver, and he's fully committed, and he is extremely hot at this point when it's late in his career, right? He's not that young of a guy, but he is bringing his best at this time in his career. Very impressive.
Yeah, and another 1-2 finish for Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin. Steve, will either one of them have an advantage when we go next week to the road course at Daytona where no one has run before?
Rick, they will both have an advantage because they can go in there and enjoy the weekend. What I think will be the biggest challenge that NASCAR has seen in quite some time. We're going to unleash these cup cars on the Daytona road course, a track that has seen a tremendous amount of racing in IMSA but has never seen a stock car race. It's been altered a little bit with the chicane off turn 4. When I look at Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin, they can enjoy the weekend, maybe gamble, try to get some points. The big question is, who else can benefit? Who could take this challenge and flip it into a playoff berth? I think of Jimmy Johnson, who ran so well the first year of the Roval, the last big road course challenge we have seen. Could he find the magic once again? Could the 7-time champ go to victory lane? It's going to be the team that adapts. I don't think anyone has an advantage when the green flag falls. It's going to be who can learn the track, communicate, and perhaps just limit the mistakes.
We'll make sure to stay with us until 7:30 here on NBCSN as we'll continue coverage from Michigan. Kevin Harvick, it was his weekend. It's been his racetrack. 2018, able to get the win. 2019, and now sweeping the weekend at Michigan. Kevin Harvick, a huge win. We'll see Krista, DJ, and Brad on the other side of the break.
Welcome to the NASCAR America post-race show. 2 races in Michigan this weekend, both won by the number 4, Kevin Harvick, here in our NASCAR and NBC studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, with Brad Daugherty and Dale Jarrett. And Brad, I mean, he was a 2-1 favorite, so I don't want to give you too much credit, but you did pick Kevin Harvick as your winner to start the day. So no surprise for you, but certainly the domination that Ford team is showing, they are sending a message to the entire field.
Yeah, well, without question. And they didn't have a perfect race car all day long, but they knew how to keep it out front. Kevin, manipulating the race car, trying to get air to the engine when it was getting a little hot, doing all those types of things. But also, we saw Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin have good runs. So that's good news for JGR. But what could have been for those Penske cars? Man, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, both super fast. Hate to see those guys get taken out because it may have been a different story at the end of that run.
Yeah, I mean, just this team is putting everything together right now this year in particular. As difficult as everything has been, not to get practice at any time, be able to try everything, but they don't need to try anything else. They've got the driver, the pit crew does an outstanding job, and they're getting everything done. And with all due respect to Ernie Banks about playing 2, I think Kevin Harvick just said, let's race 3. Why not just stay in Michigan for a while and see what happens from here? But that was a great run Denny Hamlin made there. But Kevin Harvick, besides being so talented, he's so smart in knowing and anticipating where the driver that's catching him or is running behind him, such as Denny Hamlin. He could see that Denny was catching him using a little bit of that PJ1 up there. Kevin moved up, took that away from him, made Denny do something different, and Denny did a great job of trying to move around and make that pass. But really, really good racing and fun to watch.
Yeah, and this would normally be the time on a post-race show in normal years where Keelan Harvick would be joining us. He was always one of our best interviews of post-race shows, but I know Keelan, Piper, Delano watching from home, very proud of Kevin today. But Brad, Dale, you guys mentioned some other names, some other players. Let's hear from some now. Marty Snyder caught up with Kyle Busch.
Well, Kyle Busch will leave Michigan with 2 top 5 finishes and some nice momentum. So I know early in the day, Kyle, the car really good on long runs. Kind of walk us through how it was at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we slowed down a little bit on the long runs, but, you know, that's just what we had. You know, yeah. we got about all we could get out of the day. You know, I felt like the 4 was the best car. The 2 was second best. The 11 there at the end showed up and was pretty fast, but, you know, the 19 and myself were really even, and that was about all we had. So great day, again, for the M&M's Fudge Brownie Camry. We come to Michigan not normally, you know, looking for top 5 days, but this has been a good 2 days, and you know, hopefully we can keep some momentum rolling here and get ready to go next week, turn right, turn left.
Yeah, Adam made that point to me earlier that this is really not your best racetrack and the team's best racetrack. So how important was it to have 2 solid runs like this, Kyle, to build some momentum?
Yeah, I mean, today the car, yesterday and today, the car drove great. Best driving car I've had here at Michigan. Just you know, when you have so much comfort, I guess, built into the car, you just don't quite have enough speed. But we weren't going to change that overnight, so we stayed consistent with many of the things that we were doing from yesterday just to have a good, solid effort of it today and not screw anything up.
And he mentions the road course coming up next week. Where did he spend his January? At the Daytona road course, so Kyle's ready to go for next week.
6th place finish today for Aric Almirola. And Aric, I almost don't even know where to start with your day. You had to start from the rear after you guys made huge changes, went to a backup. Then you had the miscue on pit road that set you back once again. How did you guys come away with a really solid finish all in all?
Really just a fast Smithfield hometown heroes Ford Mustang. We overcame a lot today. We had to start in the back with the backup car, drove literally from 32nd all the way up to 6th, and then had that miscue about pit road, about what we were doing for pitting, and led some laps there, which was nice, but I knew we were in trouble because everybody else could make it on fuel and we couldn't. So we pitted, got 4 tires on it, and drove from 22nd back up to 6th again in only about 12 laps. So really proud of Booga and all the guys on this team. Yesterday was not very good day. It was a learning experience and a character building experience, and we learned so much from that. And completely different race car and a different mentality for today, back to what we've been running the last couple of months, and we've had a lot more success with this. So again today, great car. Felt like we were probably a 3rd place car, but we were just constantly overcoming track position all day. But proud of my guys, and excited to go these next few weeks and get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I believe this will be your best career finish now at Michigan. The results haven't always shown where you've been able to run. The bigger picture, to be able to recover, for the team to not get too down over how you ran yesterday, what does that say about this group moving forward?
Well, we just have a lot of resilience. Mike Bugaravich and all the guys on this team, they're a great group of guys. They're incredible to work with. They have a great mentality, and that's what it takes. So we've got a few more races here to go try and win a race before the playoffs start, but I feel like we're in a great spot points-wise. And, you know, I don't know what to expect for next weekend at the Daytona Road Course, but nonetheless, we've got a great car and a great team, and we're excited about the playoffs when they come.
Thanks, Aric.
Thank you.
Aric Almirola finishing 6th, a teammate to today's winner, Kevin Harvick. And somebody who was watching the race today and definitely listening to that interview was Rutledge. Hey, Rut, what's going on?
You know, Krista, we think about the emotions that a driver like Aric Almirola has when, you know, one person calls for a hot dog, but it turns out it was a corn dog or whatever that missed call was. But take a look at this tweet from one of his fans who obviously felt the rise of emotions too. This guy Cole May said, I'm not going to wash this shirt until Aric Almirola gets a win. I'd have to think whoever lives with him was so excited when Aric was at the front, but boy, once Kevin Harvick got around him, you know, it just... I'm sorry, Cole. You have to wait another week, buddy. Maybe it'll be Daytona. We certainly know he's a Florida guy, loves it down there. But the emotions ran high today for the fans as well, Krista.
I guess my question would be, that's good stuff for Brad and Dale, is the shirt freshly washed, or has he been going this entire season with that shirt?
That is a good question. Only one person can answer that. We'll leave that to be uncomfortable.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Your thoughts on Eric?
Yeah, Eric. I'm really excited for Eric. I was really concerned because he only had one top 10 finish in 16 races, 16 tries here. And after yesterday, I just told myself, well, maybe this is just who he is at this racetrack. And he knows that. That race team knows that. They get a good, solid run today after having a little bit of controversy and a little bit of, resiliency being shown. This is huge for him going forward, and that win is just right around the corner for Eric.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been really solid for a long time. I do wish if they're going to try something different, they would let me know. He killed my fantasy deal yesterday, but that aside, that's not what they're after. A good bounce back for them. Really, really good. They did a good job. Unfortunate that they had a little miscue there, and they didn't get their driver the opportunity to battle for the win there at the end. But, again, very, very solid stuff. Kyle Busch, 2 solid days. Yeah. Now, that's what they needed. They talk about not being able to get any practice, but what they were able to do was get a lot of information for 2 days, being able to run really good and see if they can find just a little bit more speed to deal with this 4-car.
Well, the only person that may want that win sooner than Eric Almirola is, I don't know if Cole, Purity and Chaos has roommates or families, but if he's keeping that shirt on until Eric Almirola gets a win, we wish him well. More from the post-race show coming up. If you thought today was wild, wait until next Sunday on NBC. The NASCAR Cup Series will race on the storied road course at Daytona with a ticket to the playoffs on the line. Race coverage begins at 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC. We have no idea what to expect because basically these guys have never done this before. Kevin Harvick, your race winner. A lot of other great days for guys like Martin Truex Jr. Martin was with Marty.
A 3rd place for Martin Truex Jr., who really came to life for the 2nd day in a row in the 3rd stage. I mean, this 3rd stage kind of worked out well for you the last 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. We battled back, and, the car was pretty far off to start the race. So, I don't know. We're all pretty disappointed in that, obviously, but really proud of the effort to get the Auto Owners Camry back up front. And, special paint scheme, and can't thank Auto Owners enough for all their associates for their support of our foundation and all 1,900 of the people on the hood. We really wanted to get them to victory lane, but just really proud of our race team. We keep bringing top 3 cars to the racetrack, and the playoffs are coming, so we need to keep doing that. But just off at the start and had a rebound. So definitely a different story today than yesterday, but pretty much the same result.
I heard you say that you wish you could get closer to the 11 to push him, and you thought the 18 probably was the same for you. Could you just not get close enough to him, or what?
Yeah, I just started getting tight that last run, and was starting to have to lift, getting into 3 a little bit, and getting tight off 4. So he started driving away, and I was doing all I could to try to get up there, and once he got by me, I was trying to stay close. I just got too tight at the end. So just fought the balance too much all day. Wicked loose to start, and then wicked tight to end. So just missed it a little bit, but again, proud of everyone back at the shop, and we'll keep digging.
By the way, James Small brought up a great point to me earlier today. He said now that finishing position is part of the starting lineup, he loves that you finished up front today for the road course in Daytona next week, right?
Yeah, we actually talked about it before the race. We're like, we got to finish good no matter what. So we definitely had that in the back of our mind because, you don't know what's going to happen next weekend. I think all of us going into turn 1 at Daytona road course with no braking points, and potential of rain in Florida in the summertime in the afternoon. So who the heck knows what's going to happen? I love road courses, though, so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll get prepared this week. We got a lot of plans to work hard to get ready for there, so should be fun. We'll see what we can do, and then Dover in 2 weeks is pretty excited about that doubleheader as well.
Another strong finish today for Martin Truex Jr. He comes home 3rd.
Yeah, lots of great points there. No longer a draw. The starting lineup now sort of weighted on performance, as Marty alluded to there. Auto Owners, by the way, his sponsor presented the Martin Truex Jr. Foundation over $50,000 this week. Martin talked about that, so just giving you a little details there. But Dale, yesterday, Martin said they're going to have to watch out for us tomorrow. That was his quote as we talked to him at the end of that race. Not a win, but he was right there.
Yeah, he was there, but I think their little experiment that they tried to gain a little bit more speed may have backfired because he was so loose, he could not go forward. Matter of fact, he was going backwards and trying not to wreck his race car. So the 2 days, they spent 4 stages, stages 1 and 2, trying to get the car to Martin's liking, and then finally did in the final stage, but then they couldn't make another adjustment or give him time to do what he really needed. But 2 solid days for them. They keep gaining on this. Anytime you change a crew chief, and especially at a time like this, in a season like this, it takes time to adapt to what each other want. And so I think they're doing an excellent job there, but very, very solid. And, you know, he's just a champion race driver.
Yeah, he's excellent and just very, very consistent. But you're right. Just kind of over-adjusted, trimmed that race car out just a little bit too much. You heard him say, you know, they were loose and then he got tight. Couldn't overcome that condition, but a great day for the JGR cars. I'll say that again. They showed some speed, especially Denny Hamlin, obviously. Fastest car on the racetrack there at the end. Made a mistake, didn't give himself a chance to win, but good run today. They got to be excited other than having to go into turn 1 at Daytona in a week altogether. So should be good, should be fun to watch, but a great day for those JGR cars.
And is my math right? There are only 4 races now in the regular season. These double headers just completely throw things on a spin cycle. So, Brad, looking at this playoff bubble, I mean, Erik Jones had the big headline coming into this. Looked like it was going to be a good day for him, but he loses ground in his battle to get back into those top 16.
Yeah, he had, scored great points yesterday in both stages, a 4th and a 6th. Picked up a lot of ground on William Byron, but you know, at the end of the day, just wasn't able to get any stage opportunities, had some troubles there at the end of the day, lost a lot of ground. It's looking at, there's a lot of peril from 17, 18, 19. Those guys are in trouble. Somebody's going to have to win a race. And Jimmie Johnson can win a race next week. Heck of a road racer.
Yeah, he really is. And that was unfortunate for Erik Jones. He had a decent day going around there, the top 10, which would have been solid and gained him a few more points. We're being told that he had a driveline problem there in that last stage late in the race and ended up finishing 27th. So William Byron just kind of hanging on, not really getting top 10 finishes, but he stays in that 16th position.
And a good day for Matt DiBenedetto there. I would love to ask you guys what do you think is going to happen next week, but how in the world do we even plan it, Dale?
I can tell you, I'm not in the race. I have nothing going on, and my hands are sweating listening to Martin Truex Jr. talk about what a challenge that is going to be. I don't think these guys know, and we don't. It's going to be great fun to watch.
My race team wrecked 7 race cars in July, and I am nauseous thinking about going to Daytona next week.
Kevin sweeps the weekend, 6th win of the year. Ford takes the Heritage Trophy. Next week, it might be like they're skating on thin ice. It's time now for hockey with NHL Top 10. We'll see you next weekend in Daytona.